Morning, Raptor Freak. Alexiot's here. Wednesday morning, 420. Happy 420 to all my green brothers and sisters out there that love the green. This is one of my favorite holidays of the year. I mean, it's not really a holiday, but it is a special day, the 420, baby. And I know there'll be a bunch of Torontonians down at Yonge and Dundas Square out there, like, making a big billow of smoke come up right in the middle of the city like a chimney. It's going to be so badass. Yes, there are new wrenches that have been handed out in the last day or so. I think 4 or 5 of you guys actually going to have wrenches now. So when you show up, you're going to see that you got a little blue wrench. All right, let's get right down to business. It's game 3, baby. That means that we are back here in Toronto in the 416, and it is time to hold down the fort. Now, I could talk a lot about some history lessons about when, Fort York held off some Americans, patriots that came across the border and tried to take over Canada. We were able to hold them off here. And I would really love to have that kind of spirit with the Raptors in our home court today, because this is a thing. This is this is such an important game tonight. This is something where, like I said, Nick Nurse is challenging his guys to show their character and mettle of how tough they are, how much they put up with, and whether they push back and whether they make something happen themselves. And this is a really important test for their character as young team and stuff like that. And then on the down low, it's also Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri are going to be watching, and these guys need to play for their lives because some of them are actually playing for their careers in some ways. So they really do need to come out with a good, strong effort. If you're near the end of the bench and you're kind of halfway in the NBA right now, this may be an important time for y'all. Good morning to Brian. Good morning to Raymond. Good morning to Tom Duke. The Raps team got to the free throw line 12 times. Philly got there 30 times. Joel got there 14 out of the 30 times. And the Raps lost by 15. You do the math, Tom Duke. You do the math. And as you can see, your names are in blue at this point with a little wrench. And this is what I said yesterday. You guys are my offensive line to help me in this kind of thing. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if Sixer fan comes in here and starts roasting me, I don't have a leg to stand on at this point. I cannot talk shit back to them because they are right. They are kicking our ass and they are winning in a lot of big ways right now. And that is why you guys have the wrenches. And I'm enacting a zero tolerance for a Philly fan to come in here and talk shit to us today. So as soon as any of you wrench people see something like that, you have the full right from me to just kick them right on out. Because yesterday we got the stream so fucked up by certain Philly fans that were just spamming so much that I went back and reviewed the stream yesterday and I missed a bunch of comments that I wanted to talk about, like that I saw later. I'm like, why didn't I see that? And then I realized it's because there was just so much bullshit there. So I've got reinforcement now. If you see your name in blue with a wrench, that means you can kick people out on this channel. And I want to encourage that at least for now. Now, in normal times, regular times of the year, if Philly fan wants to come in and talk to us when it's not so heated and right in the middle of things, that's fine. And Philly fan that is ingratiated themselves and they're cool with us, they are fine being here also. But any new person who's going to come in here and talk shit or do anything like that, right out the door, please, new mods. All right. Now that we've got that set. Let's see. Sue's here. Good morning, everyone. I've been resting my voice all night. I'm ready. Defense. Let's go. Sue, you are the front lines tonight. You are somebody we are really counting on tonight. And I know you're going to do badass. You're going to be great. And I have some real good feelings about tonight also. It's like, listen, our fan nation needs to be very motivated. Like Sue going down there and whoever else is going down there. These are the games that really matter. This is a playoff game in Toronto. We haven't had one of these since 2019 in the championship run, y'all. We have not played a playoff game in Toronto since we won the championship, y'all. So this is why it's so important. We need to make up for lost time and really make that home court advantage count real big tonight, because we've been robbed of it for a couple years by a pandemic and different other bullshit. And that's why it's so essential. I hope we've saved it all up and we're going to put it all on the court. As much as the players need to put it out on the court, we as fans need to help put it all out in the arena, to leave it out there and just hopefully get this win tonight real easy or whatever way we can. Because, yeah, this tonight and Saturday's game may be the only 2 home games we get in the playoffs. So we want to make sure that we make it happen. Oh, yeah, we really do. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see. Let's see. Tom Duke saying that is officially the last time I'll complain about the refs. It's okay. If it happens more, we're going to have to. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Tom Duke, the crew chief for tonight is not a good crew chief for the referees for the Raptors tonight. I'm going to, oh, you know what? We'll do it right now. Here's our ref check for tonight. I've already went and looked, and I see who we got. We got Mark Davis as our crew chief tonight. And Mark Davis has a very acrimonious history with the Toronto Raptors. He has literally cost us games single-handedly by himself. There's a particular historic game against the Sacramento Kings in Sacramento where he robbed us right in the last minute of the game, and we lost that game. And there were no repercussions. Even the NBA head office went back and reviewed it and determined that he made the wrong call and that we should have won the game. And they didn't go back and switch it in any kind of way. So we have Mark Davis, y'all, tonight. He is our crew chief, and that is not the best thing. Now, I will say one thing about Mark Davis. In the years since the debacle in Sacramento, he has shown a little bit more favor towards us in different ways. So hopefully he can do that tonight. Because listen, I hated Mark Davis for years after what happened. And I really paid real close attention to him particularly. Like, he's one ref that I'd really be watching ahead of my whole ref report that I'm doing right now. He's somebody I've watched for years since. And he has been very fair to us. In fact, sometimes he can favor us since the Sacramento fuck up that he did to us. So I'm really hoping this is the case, that maybe Mark is really, because he could be one of these guys that really is trying to be a straight up ref and he just made a mistake that day. And that he's really going to come out there and call it right down the line and stuff like that. He's the kind of guy that will reward the team that's working the hardest, is getting after the ball the fastest. So we need to make sure that that is the Raptors tonight. So Mark Davis is our crew chief. And then we got Sean Wright as our second ref. He's from Dacula, Georgia. And he is he's a good dude. He seems like an all right guy. Our win percentages under these guys, I'll go real quick. And then the last ref is Justin Van Dyne. He's a California ref. He's the youngest ref on the crew. And then Ray Acosta is our alternate once again. Now, these are the percentages under these refs. We've got Mark Davis is 50.1. All right, let me say this right. We win 51.5% of the time when Mark Davis is refereeing. And then when Sean Wright is reffing, it's 58.5%. And then Justin Van Dyne is 55.6%. So they're all up above 50 and in a good kind of area for the most part. So, yeah, okay, let's see. Let's see. I want to see what else is going on here. Yep, Tom, you got a wrench. Sue got a wrench. All right, yeah, because you guys are my most regulars and the ones that I trust the most. That's why I picked you guys, and a couple other people also are got the wrench too, like Raymond and Click. Click's got one also. Let's see. Raymond Jacobs saying, "Embiid poke Nurse. Time for Nick to let out the bear hard. Please win." In some ways, I'm wondering about how much that motivates our team tonight. That whole stupid exchange between Joel Embiid at the end of the game. Like I'm saying, listen, that kind of activity, Joel Embiid, will motivate guys and teams and stuff like that. Like did he just talk shit to coach? Like, there's the Raptors start saying, like, did he just talk shit to coach? And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, he did. And then like, oh, we got to get him back. And even Nick, like, he looks so incredulous after that whole exchange. Like, you really talking straight to me like this in this kind of way? And I love all the reactions in different places. Of course, Sixer fan has their own stupid reaction to how that all went down. But there's a lot of other fans, and not just Raptor fans, that are writing stuff like, who the fuck are you to talk shit to a man who's won a championship in his first year of coaching, that this is like done so many great things? And what the fuck have you done, Joel Embiid? Seriously, ultimately, as far as like any kind of huge accomplishments in basketball, have you won a ring? No, you have not. Have you done this? No, you have not. Nick Nurse has, and you need to respect that to a degree. And once again, you are not being respectful when you tell somebody to stop bitching, especially when you're the biggest bitch of them all and the one that's actually getting calls, and you're still bitching about it. I can't believe that. Oh my gosh. All right, let's see. Please don't laugh out loud. Maybe you need the timeout option. No, I'm not going to use timeout. I'm having zero tolerance here. Either these are Raptor fans that are coming in here, or they're just going to be fucking not in here, is what it is. Because you guys don't understand what's happening in my off hours. There are people coming and finding my videos on YouTube, and they are attacking me all hours of the day. That's what I'm saying. I get up in the morning, I've got 5 Sixers messages in my queue that are real ugly. So that's why at this point, I don't have any tolerance for this kind of stuff. It's Blue City, if it's random gamer, if it's Jo, if it's a Sixer fan that comes in with that kind of respect and we can interact in a way that's actually means something instead of just like you're rubber, I'm glue, whatever I say bounces on me, it sticks to you, that kind of bullshit, schoolyard, just back and forth. No, we don't have time for this. We have work to do on this station as far as positive Raptor fans and building the positivity. And we can't get mired in the bullshit with this. I know y'all love seeing me take people down and get into arguments with them, but this isn't the time because first of all, I have no leg to stand on to talk shit because the Raptors ain't done shit in this series. So they're coming in here and saying stuff like that. I basically have to agree with them. Yeah, you're right, asshole. Yeah, shit all over us. I can't talk shit back. So this is the reason why I want y'all to be my offensive line and just fucking get them out of here before I even see them. Because I'm getting harassed in my off hours. They're coming and they're sending me messages, ugly shit, all kinds of stuff. And I just don't want to deal with it live on the show. And that's why I need y'all wrenched up. All right. That's what's going on right now. So, all right, let's see. Yeah, no timeouts, zero tolerance, Raymond Jacob. We can do this like throughout the whole year and other times, but we're in war right now and we're in really bad shape. Like we're beat the fuck up and we're really clinging to life right now. And we just don't need that at this point. I know you love to see the spectacle of the bam, 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 but we don't have any ammunition right now in our gun as far as fans to talk shit back. Because honestly, they can talk all the shit they want because they've earned it right now so far in the series. That's what I'll say right now. So Sue's saying, ha, Tom, you just settle down now. Don't make us do it. Listen, I gave these things to y'all because I trust you guys as my regulars and people that are here all the time. And you know the flavor and the way that the station usually runs. And that's why I was at Callie. I'll give you one also. You know what? All right, I'll give you one too. I'm going to give you one right now, Callie. You are getting a wrench right this minute. I've been a longtime fan and don't remember feeling so angry. Yeah. I mean, I have felt very angry at different stages in the Raptors' history. I felt very, very angry early on. I felt very angry when the whole Vince thing, the way it went down. I felt pretty angry when Chris left and the way he did, Chris Bosh. I felt very angry after series with LeBron and different times like that. And in fact, the year before we won the championship, I was about to stop watching the NBA altogether because I was so sick of how they had premeditated, like they wanted the Warriors to win, obviously, when they allowed DeMarcus Cousins and all these guys to jump on the team with Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson. So before the 2018-2019 season, I was actually said, well, why don't we just give the championship to the Warriors now? Because they're that, stacked with their roster. It looked like that in the beginning of the season. And I was almost not going to watch. And it's amazing that I did. And I'm so glad I did because I was absolutely wrong. The Warriors did get to the finals, but boy, was it a pleasant surprise to see what actually happened in 2019's championship year for Toronto. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right, let's see. Tom Duke saying, oh, Callie, I just wrote Adam Silver again yesterday and today. Callie's saying, love Maxey, but want to see that smug smile wiped off his face. Yeah, I mean, I don't want him to be happy. I guess I'll say that. I'd like these guys to be kind of like, okay, a little shook because the Raptors punched back and we actually got a win in this series. It is so important that we don't let them sweep. And it is so important that we win this game tonight. This is the most important game of this whole entire year, regular season or whatever. This game tonight, this is an absolute win for the Raptors that they have to get. They have to get this. This is the only way to survive in the playoffs. And that this is a pride game in a lot of ways also. That they have really besmirched us. They've really done some insulting things in different ways. And that the Raptors need to do this to show that they have pride in themselves, pride in defending their building, pride in not going out like and sweep, pride in like doing one for coach because he's getting talked to directly by an idiot at the end of the game, that kind of stuff. There's so many reasons for why they need to win tonight. And part of it is also shutting up some of these Sixers fans to a degree because, man, they can't get it all clean. Just right out like this. Now, we will talk. Let's real quick talk about the injuries because they're kind of interesting tonight. Obviously, on the other side, still Bassey's out and Matisse Thybulle cannot come across the border, so he won't be available tonight. But on our side of things, Scotty is listed as doubtful for tonight. But you know what? Like I said, there's been weird stuff happen. Like, what if we have this Willis Reed moment where Scotty all of a sudden is announced and he's in the starting lineup tonight and he is playing? Like, that's the weird thing. Like I said in the interview the other day in the practice, he smiled and winked and said, I might be back sooner than you think. And I'm like, well, he's not going to be back tonight. So maybe he'll be back for game 3. And that's what I'm really thinking right now, that there's some sort of weird, he's a 20-year-old. He just rolled his ankle a little bit. There's no structural damage. If it's just a sprain, he does certain things with it over a couple of days. And then boom, all of a sudden he's ready to go on, 5 days after when it happened. And I hope that's really the case with what's going to happen here. Is that if it isn't going to be tonight, I know for sure if game 4 is really super important, he'll probably play in that one for sure. Now, Thad Young's not even on the injury list tonight, so he is definitely going to be available and playing. And then Gary, once again, with this mystery malady that he is dealing with, he is day-to-day and questionable for tonight. So I don't know what's going to happen with Gary. If Gary's anything like he was for game 2, and he's coming in and he's like, oh, I'll play, but he looks like shit and he's not moving and stuff like that, Nick, you just need to sit him once again. And once again, I'm like, what the fuck is fucking up his body so bad as a sickness or a flu or whatever to have it this long in this kind of way and stuff like that? It's very strange to me, as I put it before. It's really weird. Sue's saying, that's right, Callie. Let's wipe it right off his face tonight. Shut him down. I like that idea of trying to stop Tyrese Maxey as best as we can. I think that Malachi Flynn got the chance to go at him in the last game. Maybe Armani Brooks gets that chance tonight. Maybe Delano Banton's involved in the game tonight. We'll have to see. Tom Duke saying, all right, let me see. Sixers fans, reporters are really next level rude and whine when they win. Just angry people. Yeah, listen, Sixers Nation is like has not had a lot of weight to throw around and talk a lot of shit over the years, and they really love doing that. And when they actually finally have a chance to talk shit and do that, well, they're saving it up. And not only that, they're artists of talking shit. Like they've been doing this for many, many years, and they love talking shit in sports. And so when they actually get a chance to toot their own horn when one of their franchises isn't complete shit, then they really get into it. You can ask NFL fans about Eagles fans when they're actually doing really well and getting somewhere. They can be real fucking like annoying assholes for sure. So it is that kind of thing. It's like they finally got something to toot their horn about, and they're really overdoing it because in Sixers Nation, they haven't had a whole lot to toot their horn about with them, and they're doing it right now. Lion Hunter is saying, I wonder what version of Gary we get tonight. Yeah, I really wonder too. I'm like really mystified. Like these guys are high caliber athletes. They should be having the best nutrition, the best kind of rest schedules, the best kind of everything, because their body is their work. Their body is their vessel to do their work, and they want to be in tip-top shape. So when somebody's sick for a long period of time, it really worries me. And that's the thing. It's like this is not a normal flu if it's been like over a week or something like that. Normally, a healthy young person, their body can fight it and beat it off, and like it goes away and stuff like that. So I don't know. I really hope he got better in the last 2 days, but I haven't heard any news specifically about it, and he is still listed for tonight as being questionable. Which is it's too bad, but we'll see. Who knows? Either way, we've got to do this with who we've got. Like it really gets down to Fred and Pascal and OG being leaders on this team and stepping up, doing as much as they need to do individually as possible to try and make the Raptors win tonight, no matter what. And, OG did some really fantastic things in the last game he could build off of. Pascal and Fred could both do a little bit better. That's for sure. And they both said it themselves, and I'm going to see that. Pope Platinum Beats is laughing out loud. Michael Moy is here. You guys are not on it, all right? I'm going to tell you right now, you are not on it. You're going to have to get more in here. We got so many wrenches, and nobody's catching these people right now. I'm telling y'all right now, we need first time. There's 2 of them right here. I don't even want to read them. Like if they write something like that, you see a broom, you see any kind of sweep and 4 or any of that kind of bullshit, kick them out. Because seriously, not only that, I don't even want them in here watching. They're going to comment. They're saying that they're here, and then boom, you got to get them out. Sue's saying, you don't need to take that kind of crap. People are so brave hiding behind social media. Isn't fair, not cool. We got you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Get them, Sue. There were 2 right there above your comment that I was like, go ahead and kick them right out right now. Yeah, see, Tom Duke's replying to him. Don't even reply to him, Tom. Just kick them out. That's what I'm saying for right now. We just got to kick them straight out because I don't have time for this. We did a 3.5 hour stream yesterday because of this bullshit. And like we don't need to do this that long because like they're not important. Their voices are not important here. And I'm giving y'all sheriff's duties. Like you guys are deputized. So you need to you guys go do it. And if you don't want to do it, that's fine. But if one of you really wants to be a badass and help me out, do it, please, please. Let's see. Sue's saying, do we know if Scotty or Gary are playing tonight? We're not sure. I have a weird feeling that Scotty may try and play tonight. Like if he actually feels any kind of okay with his ankle, he's going to try and play on it. And I don't think it's a kind of a dangerous thing like the things that happened with Golden State against us in the finals. Like it's not the same kind of injury that they had. Like this one is more different. And he's, like I said, he's so young and he can bounce back so quick because his body's so strong and stuff like that. Tom Duke saying they're in trouble when they cross our border. Adversity doesn't sit well with either JoJo or that bearded guy. Well, the bearded guy, he's been through a lot of wars and a lot of things, but it is true that he may kind of just disappear when the shit hits the fan. And yeah, we really listen, I don't normally advocate this, but I really do want our fans to be very mean and very hostile in the arena tonight. Like I'd love for them to talk so much shit to Joel Embiid tonight in all kinds of different ways. I want to see a lot of fans doing this because we're kicking their ass. Near the end of the game, I would love to see a bunch of airplanes out there just making fun of him in different ways like that. So, yeah, Callie's saying, Sue, no for Scotty, maybe for Gary. Yeah, I think it might end up being that. But like I said, if Gary's not 100%, don't try and force him to play because he's obviously really having a problem. Yeah. Sue, I know Scotiabank's gonna be rocking tonight. These games are important. This is do or die time. This is all or nothing time. This is time to put it all out in the building as far as noise, because we're not guaranteed anything after this weekend. We've got to go ahead and get some wins, or we're not going to be playing in May. Do we want to play in May? That is what we're trying to figure out here tonight. Is do the Raptors want to play in May? Because they're not going to be playing in May if they don't win tonight. And that's really important because this series will go right up until April the 30th, game 7, if we can push it to 7 games or whatever happens, whatever. But if we want to play in May, we need to win tonight is what I'm saying for sure. Oh, yeah. Scotty is doubtful. He's not doubtful. He is doubtful, and that's actually pretty good. That's better than questionable in some ways, but not really. Raymond Jacobs saying more than Rock and Sue, it'll be hostile. I wonder if Drake will be there. I'm pretty sure Drake will be there tonight. I hope he is. I mean, he is somebody who helps us, and he is one of the few people that is actually allowed to get out there and in between the refs and talk to people, kind of like that super fan for the Sixers. He gets really involved in the politicking and different things like that. G saying Mobley is now 20 points ahead of Scotty in the Rookie of the Year award. Now that's not what I'm seeing on my sheet at this point, unless they updated it just between when I saw it. Because you know what I saw? He's actually ahead again. He's ahead by 4 points on the spreadsheet that I've been checking right now. I think that what I've seen new added to this is Michael Wilbon and Chris Broussard have both voted for Scotty, and that was the difference. He was down by 6, and now he's up by 4, and that's because he got 2 first place votes from Michael Wilbon and Chris Broussard. Very smart gentleman. And Michael Wilbon, thank you. Tony Kornheiser's an idiot, but Michael Wilbon, you're awesome. I love Michael Wilbon. All right, let's see. Sue saying, I hope so. Raymond Jago. G saying, I don't think they will risk Scotty taking talk tonight. Scotty tonight is my feeling. Yeah. Thank you, Tom. You did it. Callie, I'm guessing maybe pneumonia for Gary. I hope not pneumonia, but that could be very true, because that's very serious flu. And this is seeming like more than just normal flu. It's very serious flu. All right, Tom, good job wrenching here. That's cool. I used to be a bouncer, just didn't want to jump the gun. No problem, Lexi. Yeah, this is the time. We're in the war zone right now, and this is we're basically like Rocky getting beat up in the first Rocky until he finally comes back. It's like they're beating us down. And Philly fan, that's right. I'm using a fucking Philadelphia reference to reference us. We are getting beat down like Rocky, and we're gonna. I know he loses at the end of the first movie, but who knows? Maybe we can overcome it. I don't know. Yeah, Tom, you be a badass. You do a good job, and Sue also, you do it too. Sue's saying maybe I can get my airplane on and get on TV for y'all to see. I'd love to see Sue on TV tonight, mocking Joel Embiid. That'd be badass. Yeah, yeah. You guys are all Raptor Freak badasses. I love it. Raymond Jacobs saying, "Sorry, Alex, it's 4:20. I was all tied up. Yeah, zero tolerance for Sixers instigators. Yeah, just for this week, or at least until this series is over, and even afterwards for a little bit. Like they may come in and try and talk some shit." If they beat us and put us out of the playoffs. And I just don't have time for this. We were talking about Raptors stuff, and they coming in here and just talking trash and putting us down and stuff like that. It's not productive or even anything that this channel wants to become. Because like I said, I don't have a leg to stand on if we lose the series. I'm going to be like, yeah, y'all were better. Y'all won, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, it's not worth it. It's like, we got to put the wall up, at least for that kind of thing. Let's see. Sue saying, I love May. Play on and win, boys. Yeah, I want to see these guys playing in May. Like would be real. This is the important thing. It's like you're not going to get to May if you don't beat the Philadelphia 76ers. And you got to start somewhere. And tonight it's here in Toronto at the Scotiabank Arena. And hopefully they can get a better effort. And just like this is the thing they keep saying in the last couple of days is the Raptors have not looked like themselves. Meanwhile, Philly's getting whatever the fuck they want. Well, let's flip the script on that. The Raptors need to get back to looking like who they've looked like all season long, and that Philadelphia needs to be hindered and a little bit slowed down a little bit more than they have in the first two games of the series already. Yeah, we did better in the last game than the first game. The first game was an absolute, like, nothing good, hardly anything about the first game, obviously with the injuries and the other things like that. And then, with the second game, we showed building blocks for the right direction on how we can go with things. We saw some really good, successful things in the fourth quarter. And we also saw some really good, successful things with our offense in the first quarter. So these are things we can try and build off of and maybe expand for the full 48 minutes tonight and stuff like that. So we'll have to see how it goes. And we'll see, it's going to be very interesting. And hopefully they take the test, the Raptors, and they succeed. That they come out there and they kick ass and they show Bobby Webster, like, yeah, we were made of something. They show Nick Nurse, yes, we are not going to put up with this, and we're going to fight until the very end, and we're going to try and get a win. Because that, like I said, once again, we cannot let them sweep us. We do not want to get swept. Getting swept is a bad thing in the playoffs. It's a very bad thing. You need to win at least one game because you need to show that you can beat them. Oh, yeah, you need to show that. Let's see. Let's stay focused. Okay, good. That Mobley ranking came up in my actual news feed. Yeah. That I saw this like yesterday. He updated. He put Michael Wilbon and Chris Broussard on there. They're 10 extra points for Scotty, which was a swing. He was down by 6, and now he swung back over him by 4. So it is super close. And now with that kind of thing. That means there's been how much percentage is in now? 44% of the vote is figured out and counted for right now. So, let's see. With 60 votes in, you saw 60 votes. I don't know how many votes exactly what I got there. Tom Duke saying airplane time in a few hours. Yeah, I want to see this takeoff. When's departure time? G saying, no, you don't watch other games, but Kyle had the wildest flop of all time last night. Yes, I'd like to hear that with Miami. Very interesting games last night. Otherwise, like the Pelicans beat the Suns last night. The best record in the league, number 1 team, number 1 seed in the West, got beat by Jonas and Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum. And this was something I kind of predicted a little bit, that the Suns might have a little bit of trouble with the Pelicans in a weird way that they didn't realize. Like in some ways, they really match up well with them. And I'm hearing that Devin Booker got hurt in that game also. That's really interesting in weird ways and stuff like that. I'm kind of rooting for Phoenix on the Western side, so I don't necessarily like this totally. So yeah, it's very interesting. Let's see. Brian's saying if Scotty comes back, give Alex McKechnie a raise. I'm sure Alex McKechnie gets a pretty good salary for what he does because he is such an important person in there and stuff like that. Let's see. Okay, Mark Miller is being cool. So we're letting him message and stuff like that. Jimmy is a beast. Jimmy had a great game against Atlanta. And the thing, they're getting into it with Trey Young. Like he got right in his face in game one, and yeah, he's just a baller. Jimmy Baller. Jimmy Butler is Jimmy Baller Butler. And this guy is a winner. He's the kind of guy that will do anything for a team to help them win. And that when you put that with Kyle Lowry, same kind of attitude like that, that's really good for Miami Heat and their fans and their team. That they got that combo there. Yeah, Mark Miller's saying he misses Jimmy buckets, and I'm guessing you're a Philly fan, and they're allowing you to talk now because listen, like yesterday we got inundated with so much stuff, and it was just like there's too much. We gotta keep focused on what we're trying to do on the station, and that's react and preview and stuff like that. Yeah, the family saying win, win, win. Let's go Raps. A little bit of adversity is nothing we can't handle. Let's put a little doubt in those Sixers fans. Yeah. We just need to. It's a matter of pride. It's a matter of personal pride. It's a matter of professional pride. Like you are a pro, Fred VanVleet. You are a pro, Pascal Siakam. And you know what this feels like. You've been in this situation before in a playoff series, and you knew what you did before that worked. And now you need to go back and try and tap back into it again. And it may not be that you have the same guys around you to help you like we did in the past years, but we need to do it because it's absolutely essential for tonight. They protected their home court and they did a good job. Sixers did a fantastic job protecting their home court and getting that great playoff atmosphere with their fans and stuff like that. We need to replicate that and maybe even do way better in our building as far as like having a really hostile, loud building tonight with lots of defense chance. And then just the team needs to come out and show that they really care about trying to win. That if they can find motivation from Joel Embiid and Nick Nurse's exchange at the end of the game or anything just like it's happened in this whole series with the physicality and different things like that, these are things that they really need to do and step up and take care of. And it's going to be a fight. And there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff that could happen. Let's see. G saying Miami has toughness with Butler and Kyle. Yeah, I agree with that. Raymond saying Raps can stop Jimmy, though. It's Embiid, man. Things need to change tonight. I hope Pascal takes over. Please, Pascal. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Mark Miller saying, we all know Drake's going to be yelling on the sidelines, yelling at Embiid. Laugh out loud. Yeah, he'll be yelling at the whole team. He may be yelling at our guys too, like trying to get them to get going and stuff like that. He's a weird addition to our team, a weird person to have at our court side to help because it's so weird because there are people that are huge fans of him that are involved in the NBA. Like there's certain refs whose favorite musician is Drake. Like I see this and I'm like, Mitchell Irvin loves Drake and like he's reffing our game tonight. So I'm like wondering on some of the breaks, is he trying to get a autograph or something like that? Or other players, opposing players can get a little starstruck just from seeing Drake out there. Like on the court, they're like, oh my gosh, Drake's sitting right there. I've been listening to his music since I was a little kid. Some of the new rookies and the younger players that come in the league and haven't seen him there yet and get a little starstruck. So it's a weird kind of, every team has their like super fan that's a celebrity, kind of like Jack Nicholson with the Lakers for so many years, Billy Crystal with the Clippers and stuff like that. Drake is our guy. And he does help us in different ways, in weird ways. Like he talks smack for us. First of all, that's one way he does, and then other things. All right, let's see. Kareem Thomas saying, "Gentlemen, sweep. We are Canadians. This is what we do." Yeah, I don't know. I hope we don't get swept or anything like that. We need to win tonight, Kareem. We need to win. That's for sure. G saying, it's crazy to think we had JV and Pirtle at one time. Yeah, we actually had centers at one time. It is really weird. Like Pirtle is a badass. Like, honestly, he is somebody that, like, if I could just get one player from any team in the whole league tomorrow and just put him back on the Raptors, he's the guy. I could pick anybody. I'm talking about anybody. That's the guy I want back on the Raptors for all kinds of good fit reasons and just what he does. It's Pirtle. Pirtle needs to come back. Granny Evelyn's here. Raptors with a big W tonight. Let's go. Yes, Evelyn. So good to see you again this morning. And yeah, we need this win tonight so bad, and it's so essential and so important for the Raptors' postseason hopes this year. We need to finish and we need to get this win tonight. Oh my gosh, we need to play really well. The family saying, what I really want to say is rip their heads off every time they come down the line, shoulder to the chest. Yeah, well, we need to show more of that physicality that we showed in the second game and just match theirs because they're coming with a lot themselves. and they're coming with a lot of edge and a lot of attitude right now. And we need to have more of that ourselves also, because that's really some of the thing that we're lacking. They have swagger, they're feeling good, they're doing operating on the court all different ways that they need to, whether it's on the offensive end or what they're doing things on defensive end that's really hurting us also. We just got to do better all around, execute better. We can't allow these continuous quarters where they score 30 plus points. Like, there's been way too many quarters in this series so far where the Sixers get 30 plus points in a quarter, and that is not acceptable. The Raptors do not play that shitty of defense. We should be holding them to smaller amounts in by quarter. And that is a really big stat to look at tonight. Like, once again, we said this year, when we can hold the team to under 30 points in the first quarter, that is great. And we need to really try and do that, because they've come out of the gate scoring really well, and they end up with like 33, 35 points in the first quarter. That's not good. We need to get them under 30 points tonight in the first quarter. That'll be a good sign for us. And if we have the lead at the end of the first quarter and they're under 30 points, Philadelphia, that is a really good sign, and that's a good start for the Raptors. And that's something we should hope for tonight. Let's see. G saying Jamal was ready to step in and back up Nurse. Yeah, well, Jamal McGlure, yeah, he's a big dude. It's not like he was going to try and fight him or anything. Once again, I mean, this is getting talked about a lot, and it should, because you don't see this way usually. You see it in a different way. Like I said, Joel's acting like LeBron. This is bullshit that LeBron would do, arrogant shit like this. Most classy, great stars in the history of the NBA wouldn't be doing this kind of shit to the coach. I don't think Larry Bird talks shit to other coaches. Maybe he did at times, but I don't think he did. Michael Jordan, he probably did talk some shit to other coaches at times. But, I don't think that Joel Embiid is on the level of Michael Jordan yet in his career or any kind of way that he should be allowed to go talk to the coach like that. I don't know. Anyway, it's just such a dumb exchange that happened at the end of the game. And in a lot of ways, I kind of wish it didn't happen, but maybe I am going to be glad that it happened, because it will get a rise and a reaction out of our players, and they play with a whole different kind of thing, partly because they're like, he talks shit to coach right to his face right at the end of the game. Let's see. Mark Miller says, does Drake own part of the Raptors? Does anyone know? No, he doesn't actually own a part of the Raptors, and he isn't sometimes officially actually an employee or a part of the organization. He's the global ambassador, which is basically he's somebody who, he does do things for us. Like, obviously he's lended his logo and his style to a lot of things we're doing with our jerseys. We have the OVO Center, which has his owl on the side, and a lot of that kind of stuff is involved. But also he had a big part in restyling the Raptors over the last 10 years. Like, he is part of the reason why our uniforms look the way they are now, the way that we changed our logo, the way that we just changed our whole look, going away from the old purple dinosaurs and even the red chevron look with Chris Bosh and that kind of era too, is that Drake was consulted and talked to about making the Raptors cooler in different ways. And that was his influence in the fashion and the style of our gear and the things that we wear now, stuff like that. So, yeah. But yeah, he's not I don't know if he is officially employed or if he actually gets a check or anything. I don't think he does. I doubt he would get a check from us, but he does do a lot of work, and he is involved in the brain trust and different things. And then obviously he's involved with a lot of individual NBA players. Like, he's friends with LeBron, he's friends with Steph Curry, very good friends with Steph Curry. And then he's got friendships all over the place, but his tightest friendships are Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Fred VanVleet. The Raptors from the core from before is those guys. Raymond Jacobs saying, seriously though, is it possible for us maybe to not touch them as much? Seems like that's the only way to stop those refs foul whistles. Some people have been like, fans have been calling for just let Embiid shoot. He's shitty. He's going to miss the shots. Well, don't even touch him. Don't even do anything. Just let him shoot, because he'll fuck up the shots on his own in different ways. Although he did have some amazing shots late in game 2, like that 3-pointer in the corner. And then that little move he did where he spun away from them to the baseline on the other side and made that shot kind of almost from behind the backboard. That was really impressive. And then the other one was the one where he was facing towards the basket, and he got that weird loop of a backboard hit, and then it like spun in and fell in. Those 3 plays were really good offensive plays for a man of his size. But we don't want to see that kind of stuff. Like, it's sometimes the best way to play him on defense is to stay between him and the basket, stay physical, and push him out as much as you can. But don't use your hands, and just kind of keep him out. And then if he does take a shot, put that hand right in his face. Like, cover his eyes up as much as you can, and just kind of distract him, or just kind of agitate him in different ways. But if you can not touch him, that's great. But that's the thing. He's on a team with James Harden, the master of like trying to initiate contact and get calls. And it could be that Harden has been counseling him on different ways to flop, different ways to like hit out and get a foul, hopefully, like on you, even though you didn't, the defensive player didn't initiate the contact, but you hit out and then they call the foul and stuff like that. I don't know. This is gonna be really weird. Like, Mark Davis is such a weird ref. Like, I could honestly see him really screw us over tonight, and it could be just like the last two games, even on our home court. And that may be something tonight, Sue, other people going to the games. Y'all may need to get on Mark Davis tonight. But let's give him a chance at first, because in good faith, he may try to actually help us also tonight. So we don't know. We're going to have to see. Maybe the home cooking will actually get us the refs on our side for once in this series tonight. So we'll have to see. Let's see. G saying, nah, if anything, there were many soft calls. Might as well foul hard, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm with you on that also. There's two philosophies. Either you lay off, but if they start hitting those shots, if they're missing and we can get the rebound and get in transition and get going, like, that's good. But if they're making the shots, then we got to hit them hard. And that's the thing. And we get 6 fouls. Make them, use them if you have to. It's fine. Use the fouls if you have to. But that's the one thing. If we're going to be getting fouls called on us and they're hitting us and they're using physicality also, we need to see it consistent on both ends. And that's all we've all been asking for this whole time. We understand when we foul, we need to put them on the line, but they need to do the same for us. And that's what's not happening, is that we're not getting the free throw line when we should possibly be getting the free throw line. When Pascal's in the lane, he's trying to do moves and stuff like that, he's getting hit just as much as Joel is. And he's not getting any respect as possibly an all-NBA player also. And that's a big difference in this series right now. Mark Miller saying, just no injuries. I'm all for physical games. Yeah, I can get behind that. I mean, the physicality is just a brand of Eastern Conference NBA, and that it's always been there for a long, long time. And, there's nothing wrong with it to a degree. There's a way of playing physical that isn't dirty. And that's the stuff that's just not got no place, is when you're hitting somebody in the face and you're touching and you may poke an eye or stuff like that, or you may cause a concussion and stuff like that. That's the really bad stuff. And that's why when the refs go and check for flagrant fouls, they're looking for overtly, like, too much movement that is looking like they're trying to hurt someone, like in contact to the head or the neck or the face, and specifically is something they're really going to call flagrant fouls for, if you're actually like overly hitting someone in the face and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm with you on that, Mark Miller. As far as things, Raymond Jacob, good job. Sue saying, if they're going to call soft fouls for both sides, then fine. Or they allow aggression, then it has to be for both sides. It just needs to be called consistently. Yeah, that's the word, consistent. That's what Fred's been calling for all year. That's what Nick Nurse wants, is just a consistent call at both ends. And if we can get that, then we have a fair shot. And if we can't, then it's going to be tougher. And we may not have a fair shot, but we still need to overcome it and try and win either way, depending on how it goes on. Tom Duke saying, you mean no more injuries, right? We will be saying sorry when things go our way and we fly planes away from Philly. Yeah, I hope that the fans in the stands get to do some airplanes at the end of the night, just to try and jeer Joel Embiid. That'd be great. G saying, players trying to move out of the way, like Pascal on Instagram NBA highlight, and he gets a call, so might as well stand there and get an actual blocking call. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for what G's saying, is like, make the fouls count also. Like, it is no in between, really. You don't want to be like half-assed. You just foul them and then they finish and it's a 3-point play. It's either like, they're going to call a touch foul and it's bullshit and you can't do anything about it, as Jack calls it, a superstar call, where he gives them an and one, an extra point, and he's finished already. Or you really hold him, you hug him, and he doesn't get to finish, but he gets 2 free throws. Or you kind of just got to either hit him hard or let him go, is the 2 ways to do it here. The family saying, I wonders why MVP voters don't vote for him. He's arrogant and he's an asshole. Yeah, he's way behind in this race. Like, when I look at the MVP race right now, he is he's got like less than like as close as Scotty and Evan Mobley are. It's not close as far as the MVP race. Jokic has got right now 445 points by this spreadsheet that we've been checking, and Embiid's got 305. So he's like 140 points behind Jokic. So it's not really looking good for Embiid as far as like the MVP race and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't see him getting it. Because Jokic is probably going to be a double MVP, and it really has to do with his and just like he is outstandingly more important to his team. Like if we get to the root word of the award, it's most valuable player. Well, Jokic is the most valuable player statistically in the NBA. That's just cut and dry it. He adds so much for your defensive side and your offensive side. His is amazing, and he just does so much. So if he's going by most valuable player, it's Jokic. Jokic is the most valuable player to his team for sure. All right, let's see. Sue's saying, "Gee, you're right. If we're gonna get calls for touch fouls, then we need to make the fouls really hard." Yeah. And Mark, thank you. You know what? I don't know if you were the one that was here yesterday, who was making all the comments, and they're saying, "Oh no, he was all right guy" and stuff like that. But yeah, you know what? Listen, if Philly fans or fans of other nations are in here and we can discuss like in a cerebral, intelligent way, and it's not just like you're stupid, you're stupid, kind of stupid, infantile, like making fun kind of stuff. It's actually really fun to interact with fans of other nations because you get to kind of a very in middle where you guys can both kind of agree and see the reality of things in some ways. And I appreciate that. I think that's really important. It's just, I don't have time for all the, the bullying and it's just people just coming in to just like, ooh, whatever they're doing and stuff like that. And they may be laughing at me because I just did that right now, but hey, this is entertainment in itself. I mean, Philly fan, you want to roast me, just don't say anything. You could sit in here and roast me to yourself and we won't kick you out. You can sit and watch. All right, let's see. Tom Duke saying, I just got a new hat and threw out my old ratty Raps hat. Gotta be good luck. Nothing like that sweet lid you were sporting. Yeah, that what that is. That can be a good luck thing. For me, my good luck today is I'm finally gonna get to go see my girlfriend for the first time in like 2 weeks since I've had COVID. That I've had enough time without having COVID that I'm going to go to her house and watch the game with her tonight. And I'll tell you what, our record when I'm at her house watching Raptor games with her is super good this season. There's been so many games this year that I've gone over and watched with her. And like I actually watched that Milwaukee game where we beat them with Bobby Portis getting Pascal pissed off. And that game after we lost against Detroit, I was at her house that night when we beat Milwaukee that night. And that was a very good luck night. There's been other nights like that, like the Boston game, the second game of the season. I was at her house that night. So that's what I'm saying. You're doing a good luck thing, getting a new hat. Well, I'm going to go see my girlfriend tonight for the first time in 2 weeks since I had COVID. And finally be reunited with her. And this is going to be good luck for us. I'm going to tell you right now, because she's super good luck for this team. Whenever I watch the game with Adriana, we win is what I'm saying. So, all right, let's see. Kareem Thomas is saying, time to make these fouls count. If I'm Nurse, I'm assigning Yuta to make Joel's life miserable with very tough fouls. That's an interesting person to put out there to try and make tough fouls on Joel Embiid. But all right, I'll go with it, Kareem. I mean, if there's something Yuta's doing where he can really like beat up Joel Embiid, I'm for it. Like maybe he knows some fighting skills that I didn't know he's got and stuff like that. But yeah, Yuta Watanabe on Joel Embiid, I don't know if that's happening tonight, but we'll see. Callie saying, put the screws on him. If the whistle blows the same, I will lose my mind. Yeah, I really hope that it's different. Mark Davis is, like I said, he's a wild card. He's a little bit like Tony Brothers, where he has an ego in the game. And if you show him up on the court, he will burn your team and like hurt your team on purpose just because you showed him up on the court. So maybe these Philly 76ers will come out and show him up on the court and piss him off. And then all of a sudden he's on our side and he's giving us a bunch of calls. We'll see. These refs are so weird with their personalities sometimes. Let's see. Mark Miller saying, y'all need to keep Embiid around the 3-point line, not in the paint. Yeah, I agree with this. This is actually a strategy I was talking about all year. It's like with Embiid, the further away from the basket you can keep him, the better. And like Precious said, going into this series, he said, how do you defend Embiid? He said, don't even let him catch the ball. That's what he said, basically. It's like the best way to defend Embiid is just don't even let him get the ball. And that's really like making it hard for them to pass it to him or get the entry pass to him in any kind of way. Now, if he's outside near the 3-point line away from the basket, then yeah, that's a great place for him to be. And we'll lay off him and give him an open three. Like if he's out there and we will test it. If he's hitting them, then yeah, obviously we got to come out and get him. But for the most part, if he's sliding up and then wants to take 3-pointers or just inside the 3-point line, let him, because we don't know if he'll be hitting them or not. Sometimes he does really hit them, and he can be very dangerous out there, like Cat, that kind of thing. It's kind of like Cat for Minnesota. It's a similar thing. But yeah, we want to keep him as far away from the basket as possible. And like Precious said, if we can just deny him the ball in the first place and he just gets less touches, well, that obviously makes him score less and be more or less involved in the offense. And that is something that the Raptors are able to do with the long arm positionless players that we have, is like we can really direct where Philly can go on the court with their offense to a degree, because we can really box them in and come in kind of like hound them in different ways. Tom Duke's saying, so true, Mark. He was wanting it lower and lower in the paint. Yeah. And one like Chunk from the Goonies. What? Chunk from the Baby Ruth. Oh man, Fan Chunk saying, agree with you, Kareem. Clink's here. Good to see Greg again. Greg, I watched your footage, your clips from yesterday about game one, your recounts. Once again, your production value and the way you splice stuff together and do all kinds of different things. Very interesting and informative in your own way. I love that kind of stuff. And good content this week. I watched it, Greg. I loved it. Good morning to him. Random Gamers here. Good to see Philly fan that we like. Maxi 4-bounce corner 3 for the win. Nothing would honestly make me happier. Oh, I'm sorry, but 2019 still haunts my dreams. Well, you want to get us to the 7th game if you really want to get maximum enjoyment from this. You want this series to go right up until the very last split second if you want to match what happened in 2019 with Kawhi. So we got to win 3 games, and then you guys got to win the 7th game and get that bounce in your own building that way. That's what you want. So not this game, okay? Random Gamer, let us win 3 games, and then if you really want that dream of get back in that kind of way, it's got to be in game 7 at the very last second of the series. Yeah, it's funny. Brian saying, I wonder if the fixers. I love that's not a mistake by accident. That is on purpose right there. I wonder if the fixers actually feel satisfied winning this way. Well, yeah, they do. I mean, listen, if it was the other way, we would be the same way in some ways. We would be just reveling and being up to, being happy, feeling good as a fan nation. So I totally understand why they feel good. And they are, listen, it's like, there's a lot of really fucked up people in this world that are fucking over the rest of us. And they have a way that they think in their minds to logically make it okay, like morally and ethically. These are people that are robbing money from grandmas. These are people that are doing awful, dirty shit just to line their pockets, and at the detriment of society in general as a whole. And in their minds, they have to make up a whole line of thinking and logic that can allow them to be so callous and selfish and fucked up, even though they're completely wrong. And that's the kind of line of thinking it's like you tell yourself what you want to say to make it okay for your crimes and your fucked up shit that you're doing. And that's part of what's happening now with Sixers Nation right now. They're just like a rich guy who's fucking running 50 coal factories that are fucking killing our climate, but they're making tons of money and they don't give a shit, even though we're going to fucking kill this whole planet. It's that kind of thinking. He has it logically figured out in his head, Joe Manchin, exactly what he's doing and why it's okay for him to do it in his own like moral values in his head, where what he's doing is not good, it's very immoral, and he's going to kind of probably kill civilization with this whole crusade in West Virginia and that bullshit with the coal mining and shit like that. So that's, I know I went off track there, but I was just trying to illustrate the way that people can justify their actions, even though they're very bad, in their own head, by their own logic and their own set of morals and ideas about what's right and what's wrong. And that's what they're saying is like, yeah, they may feel like, some of them may feel like, yeah, we could have won this better in a better kind of way. But most of them are going to be like, yeah, woo, he's the MVP, he deserves all this kind of shit like that. So Raymond Jacobs saying, did Precious get injured last game? He had ice packs on his knees. Is he okay? I think that might just be normal kind of shit that they have to do for as athletes in different ways. I haven't heard any grumblings or anything about him, and he seems like he's all right. He didn't have a super good second game of the series, but I hope that he steps up tonight. Like, especially if Scotty's still going to be out, we need Precious to go beyond his normal kind of stuff. We need some of these guys to do absolutely more than they normally do in big ways. Like, so that like we said, we don't need a Sixer to be the best player on the court tonight. We need one of the Raptors to be the absolute best player on the court tonight. And hopefully it'll be Pascal Siakam or Fred VanVleet or something like that. So we'll see. Click 2am, you have a wrench also, as you can see. Arguing with other bases ain't fun. It's toxic. They're set on one mindset. That's what I'm saying. It's like if you're not a Trump person, don't go to a Trump rally and start trying to argue with them. You're not going to get anywhere. People are just set in where they are and what they think. And they're Sixers fans. They're going to be pro Sixers. They're going to talk pro Sixers in every slant, in every kind of way, and make it out for themselves. And we're going to do that too. That's part of my job with this channel and what we're doing here. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that when you interact in a certain way, it just becomes like little kids in a recess at school. It's like, no, you're down. No, you're down. You're down. And it's like just pointless and stupid. Like, we want to have conversations on here that have something to it, that have something that's enlightening or insightful. And it's not just like putting each other down or talking shit and stuff like that. There's a place and a time for that. And right now is not the time for Raptor fan, at least. I mean, we have no leg to stand on. We really don't have a leg to stand on. And that's what I'm saying. These motherfuckers will come in here, roast me, and I'm like, you know what? You're right. You are beating us. You are better right now. And I can't fucking make an argument against it because our guys haven't done enough on the court yet to prove otherwise. And until that happens, hopefully tonight, then I can't talk shit. Like, maybe if we win tonight and we kick their ass and then Sixer fan comes in, then I'll talk some shit to them. And then maybe the wrenches don't need to be used as much is what I'm saying. So it's like, we don't have a leg to stand on right now. So I might as well be like a dummy that they beat up in the gym, like combat, because I can't defend myself right now is basically what I'm saying. Click 2am saying, I'm not even mad. We already got our chip in 19. These guys ain't done shit in years. Let them enjoy the first round. We're just a young team. Give us a year or two and we're back on top. Click 2am, once again, perspective, man. Always thinking the long term, always keeping it all real and in perspective. And that's exactly what we need to do as Raptor fans. We can't get too low. We're probably going to lose this first round. It's obvious. But, we want to get some small victories before we get out. And that's defending our court, getting at least one win to stop in the sweep. And, if we go out with one win in the playoffs, that's still very good for our young guys and the development and stuff like that. They get to feel that feeling at least. In some ways, that is a barrier, a milestone that young teams need to get too. Like, as the Raptors franchise early on, just winning their first playoff game was a very big accomplishment early on around 2000. So it's the same kind of thing. We got to go through part of the process all over again because our core is so young and learning. But in some ways, we're way ahead of those times from before because we have the roadmap. We have some guys who've already done it on our team, and that is really good. So it may happen faster than it did in years past, like where it took a long, long time to build and build and build. And then boom, 2019, all of a sudden there's a championship. And so we're on a quicker track to getting back to the championship than we were on the whole long time that it took to get to it. So stuff like that. Let's see. Raymond Jacobs saying, random gamer, stop. You're bleeding us too hard. We wouldn't be able to take that. Laugh out loud. I don't know what he said, but yeah, listen. Random Gamer has earned some respect, and like he's mostly okay. If he's talking a little shit today, I'll put up with it to a degree because he's actually earned it. It's fine. He's okay. Sue's saying, Lex, you need to watch every game with Adriana then. Yeah, I would, but she lives so far from me, and I only go over there when her dad kind of takes off and goes to his girlfriend's house. because she doesn't like being at home by herself and stuff like that. And it's good for me to be there and hanging out with her then. And it's not that I don't mind being around her dad or anything. It's just I like to give him his own space and stuff like that. So it's really I kind of at the mercy of when he takes off and goes to see his girlfriend, and she lives way far away. So he goes for a few days, and then I come out there and kind of help her and then look out for her at her house while she's by herself. Random Gamer saying at Raymond, bro, y'all need to feel my pain. Laugh out loud. I can't sleep without hearing, is this the dagger? Man, yeah, listen, that was so lucky in some ways. I will admit it. That does not bounce in. Kawhi doesn't hit that legendary shot. Then you guys moved on. And yeah, that could be traumatic in some ways. I mean, the whole Vince Carter shot with 2001 was very traumatic for me at that time also. So I can understand this. Like that, just to the side, and then them going out. I was like, oh man, Vince, you fuck up. What's going on here and stuff like that. So there is a little bit of a shared understanding with this, at least for us from 2001, y'all for 2019. So yeah, Click saying we're gonna use Yuta to stop Joel. You guys are crazy. Yeah, I think that's a little crazy too. I really do think that's a little crazy, for sure. But I mean, if Utah's going to get out there and stop them somehow, some way, hey, let's do it. G saying Raptors are one of the youngest teams in the league. I know this series is not fun yet, but damn, the future is bright. Yeah, this series in particular may be ugly, and it may be a tough year at the end, but we have to once again realize everything is gravy. We way overachieved. We weren't even supposed to be in the playoffs. We were supposed to be in the play-in. We weren't even supposed to be a regular playoff team. We weren't supposed to do this. We weren't supposed to do that. It looks like our rookie's going to get rookie of the year. There's a lot of real huge successful things about this year. Even if we go out in the first round to the Sixers, and God forbid we get swept by the Sixers, and Shaq is right. I hate that. That's the thing I'll hate the most about getting swept, is that Shaq would be right. I hate that. I don't want him to be right. Let's see. Pitto's here. Good to see Pitto again. That's GD. We need to get all the GD luck out there, because my big bro going to the game tonight, he has never gone to a game where the Raptors win. It's crazy. Oh, shit. So your brother goes to games and he's never been to one where they actually won? I dated a girl a couple years ago, and I took her to like 2 or 3 Raptor games with me. Actually, it was only 2. I took her. The first game I took her to was the first Dwayne Casey return game when we just fired him, and it was in the season of the championship. It was in 2018, and I took her to the game, and we were winning the whole game. And I had eaten a marijuana brownie that day, so I was really out of it. I was on an edible, and I was, and all of a sudden, right at the end of the game, I'm like, "What the fuck just happened? They won!" And Casey had beat us right at the last minute with a putback underneath the basket. If you remember that first Dwayne Casey revenge game, I was at that game with this girl, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So it's like we went on a second date and went to another game, and it was Denver. And we lost that game also, and I stopped dating her. I was like, I can't date you anymore. We lose when we go to Raptors games, you and I. So I can't date you anymore. That's a very true story. But yeah, I hope your brother has his luck turn around tonight, Pitto, because we need that. We need that. I know Sue's good luck for them being down there. Monique hopefully will be in the building herself down there, and she's good luck also. Tom Duke's saying, so surprised if Banton and Yuta don't get a shot. I'd like to see at least Armani or Delano get the shot that Malachi got if Scotty's not playing tonight, because that's what Nick Nurse says. Scotty doesn't play. I need an extra ball handler, another person out there to play as an extra point guard, somebody to help bring the ball up the court. And he did Malachi last game. And like Callie and I were talking about, or Summer Low, it was Summer Low. We were talking about how Malachi really disappointed us and didn't do enough. It may be that he tries to give Malachi another shot tonight and another chance also. That could be possibly too. But one of those 3 guys is going to get minutes tonight. One of them will. And it may be that he tries one of the other 2 first, like Brooks or Delano. Mark Miller saying, yeah, I was here yesterday and definitely talked shit at first, but I understand your point and would like to have a Philly opinion in here. All right, right on. Yeah, Mark. I mean, I shut you out right as soon as I saw the brooms. I'm like, come on. Listen, it's too early, first of all. We got to see what happens tonight. Now, if we lose tonight, maybe you should be starting to come out with the brooms then, because it's like we got to have a chance at least to defend our home court and see if we can do it against your team. Because we've had success against y'all in the regular season. And I know it's not translating right now to things. And there's different things that happened to us in the first game. Like, we did not know that Gary Trent Jr. was so sick. And that's the thing. he was one of our X factors and one of our big advantages over you guys. Like I was licking my chops at the idea of Gary Trent Jr. having to be guarded by James Harden because that is a really good matchup for him. He can burn James Harden in different ways, but when he's not his normal self and he can't do stuff, that really hurt our team. And then you couple in all the injuries from the first game and from the physical play, especially Scotty, obviously, it really hurt us and our personnel. And our level of talent isn't as high as it could be. Like we do not have like as much talent as most NBA teams in some ways, and that it's really a razor thin margin of error. Like Leo Routins has said over and over, the Raptors have to have everybody and have to be playing well to succeed. And if they don't, then we lose. And that's just how it's been this whole season. And it's too bad that now we thought coming into the series that we were all healthy and we were going to be good. Well, we weren't healthy because Gary Trent was sick. And then boom, all of a sudden some injuries in the first game. This is well, we can't do anything about it. So it's tough. It is what it is. But you know what? Listen, I'm not going to make excuses. Y'all played really good and you played really well. There are factors that are helping in certain ways, but I think that overall, it really is your gameplay, your strategy. Doc Rivers doing a good job coaching, and the exceptionalism of Tyrese Maxey and stuff like that has been huge keys for y'all. And Tobias Harris has been a huge X factor that has come out of the woodwork for y'all and is super helping y'all. Like he really is kind of coming into his own as a maturity as a vet and showing that he needs to do something in this series. He's doing a good job. Kay Brown's here. Good to see Kay again. Good morning, everyone. Truly happy and energized by listening to the positive points, comments, feedbacks that y'all have to say. It's a blessing to a Raptors fan. We are 100% real and honest people. Right on, Kay. Love hearing that kind of stuff. And I'm glad you found us and you're coming back. It's like I said, I'm going to be here every morning. Even when we're done playing, I'm going to do stuff every single morning. I know some of it won't be that interesting to everybody every day, but at least come back and check in with me and just see the kind of stuff that I'm doing. And of course, and in the off season, these streams are not going to be like 2 or 3 hours like this. There's so much to talk about right now, and there won't be as much to talk about then. So some of my content may get down to like 5-10 minutes, 20-minute segments. They may not be super that long, but there will be daily stuff every single day. I promise. Andrew's saying it's always sunny in Philadelphia when the refs are corrupt. Let's go, Andrew. Oh man, this stream doesn't kind of start until Andrew comes in, and I have to say, let's go, Andrew, to him. Oh yeah. Kay saying real recognizes real. I like that. Sue saying at Mark Miller, we appreciate your opinion. Thanks for being cool. It is important. Like, look, if I was going into Sixers stream, I wouldn't do that, first of all, because I don't really like being around people that like differ with me too much and stuff like that. And it'd just be stupid, like for me to go there. But yeah, I applaud Sixers fans who come in here and they are able to talk to us in a grown-up way. Is basically the way I'll put it. Greg saying ball denial for Embiid is great, but honestly, Precious, Kem, OG, P and co equal good job. Embiid said we tripled him all game, but that was sporadic. Lots of the D on him was single to get 2 spot ahead of him. A plus. You know what, Greg? You really watch the X's and O's. I can tell from the way you make your content and different stuff like that. And you really have a really good understanding of things. And I like what you're saying here. Ball denial is really the best defense for Embiid. Is like he can't do anything to you if you don't even let him get the ball. And that maybe that's part of the reason why the Raptors have done a good job against the Sixers better than other teams is that we've been better at not allowing him to even just get the ball at different times and stuff like that. So I hope that they can do that even more tonight. Like the less shot attempts that Embiid has, obviously he can't score more. So that's what we want, and that's what we need. He scored a little bit more in the second game, and I thought we did better on him in some ways than in the first game, which is kind of weird in some ways. Kay Brown is laughing at Andrew. I like that. And Mark's saying at Sue, just don't ban me. I'm friendly. All right. Yeah, if you're cool, you ingratiate yourself and stuff like that. It's just your first foot in the door yesterday was not a good one. And as soon as I saw that, I hit all your messages. So I don't even know what you were saying yesterday. And they said that you came around and that you were more you were interacting in a more positive way than just kind of like what I've been describing. And they wanted me to give you a second chance. And I'm like, I don't really give second chances to Sixer fan. I'll give second chances to Raptor fan, but they wanted me to give you a second chance. So you can really thank them. The mods here they're saying, yeah, let them talk. All right, let's see. Raymond saying, yeah, Mark, we mentioned that after yesterday. This is what I'm talking about right now, that you're okay. Marlon's saying, good morning. Let's go protect home court. If we go down fighting, we strengthen our bench. We'll be back next season. Development continues. Yeah, it's all perspective. It's stuff like there's short-term goals, there's long-term goals, there's perspective for the future in different ways. And once again, we don't want to do anything crazy like Golden State did in the 2019 finals and mess up something really good because we're trying too hard now. It's like kind of like cut your losses in some ways and don't risk too much as far as possible problems with injuries or something like that. So, if Scotty is not completely ready to come back, we shouldn't rush him back. But if he really feels like he wants to play and he feels good, he will show up. Watch. Kay Brown saying tonight's going to be a pandemonium, might be the biggest and toughest game in the playoffs. I really hope that our building has something totally new to it that is built up from a lack of having this experience in the playoffs with their team here in Toronto, in Scotiabank Arena. That, look, with the last time we played a playoff game in Toronto was before it was game 5 of the finals against Golden State, and we lost that game. And then we had to go to Golden State and win it on their court in game 6. And then it was the pandemic year. We were kicking ass that year, number 1 league team in the East, doing great things. And then the pandemic happened, and they had to play in the bubble that summer. And then last year we were in Tampa, and we didn't even get to the playoffs. And now this year is redemption. It's like all of a sudden, bam! After 3 years, we're finally back in our building playing a playoff game in front of our crowd with a full capacity, not like in the middle of the season where we had no fans or we had like 500 fans or this kind of bullshit we have. We need to really value this and think about this way, that this has been not a part of Raptors Nation, and what we are able to do is have our home court and be a full advantage with it. And that's why we really need to ensure that we use it tonight. That this is something that we have not had and we've lacked, and we need to make up for it. And if the fans come out there, like I said, this is the playbook. We are allowed the whole game no matter what. It doesn't matter if they're up by 20 or we're up by 20 or whatever the fuck's going on in the game. We need to be defiant of what is happening on the court and just be loud the whole entire game. And that means, and I don't care if you cheer on offense, you're going to cheer if they make a good basket, the Raptors. If they're going to do something badass, you're going to get loud anyway. It's really when the other team has the ball, when they are in possession of the ball, and don't wait for that Oregon player to start go right into it. As soon as you see somebody like Maxey bringing the ball up the court, defense, and everybody, and even if you're the only one doing it in your section, you get it going like a spark would cause a wildfire. You be that spark in your section. All the little kids around you will jump and start doing it with you. The adults, maybe it'll take them a little while. But I want to see this right from the jump ball at the beginning of the game. That this is something we could build as a fan nation, as I was describing yesterday, that would be totally unique in some ways. That the Raptor fans are defiant of what happens on the court, and they will cheer and do defense the whole entire game, no matter what the score is, no matter if the other team's hitting big shots, and it normally takes the air out of the building. Well, when you feel that doubt or you feel that uneasiness or that, oh, Maxey just hit a long 3, don't let up just because of that. That's what I'm saying. We have the power and control as a crowd, as people, to be defiant of the events that are on the court and allowing them to shut us up. That we could be the first time ever a team's fans that don't shut up, even if the other team is kicking ass. And that's what I'm saying. There's a certain amount of enjoyment that opposing teams get from shutting up a home crowd. And if you don't even allow them that, that's our choice to shut up. And we react in the moment and we're emotional. We're like, oh, shit, this again. And everybody's like, oh, and stuff like that. A lot of people are going to do that because that's a natural reaction. But if there's more and more of us that are just like, I don't give a shit, I'm still rooting for them and I'm still yelling defense and I still believe in them, even though they just hit a big shot and it looks bad. That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of Raptor cheering fans in the building that I want to hear at some point. I want to see if we can develop this over the years and get the word out and really start doing this, because the Raptors home base, home advantage is like a college atmosphere. that if you come to Toronto and you play in our building as an opposing, you're going to feel like you're back in college. That you're going to feel like you might be dealing with Cameron crazies. That you might be dealing with the UNC kind of crowd. Those kind of crowds, the college crowd that are just wild and loud no matter what the whole entire game. That's what we want our Raptors crowd to be on the professional level in the NBA. That's what I'm talking about. And that pandemonium you're describing, Kay, that's what I hope we get. And like I said, let's be a defiant crowd that cheers our team no matter what. And it doesn't matter what the score is, either way. They could be up like pouring on that waffle, that pancake. I'm gonna tell you right now, Mark Davis's favorite food is pancakes. Tom Duke. Mark Davis loves pancakes. So let's make him up some 100% Canadian maple syrup and pour that real thick on top of that stack of flapjacks, because that's what we need tonight. Is we're gonna need some syrup pouring tonight to get this one and get a good finally a win in this fucking series. Oh yeah, saying Embiid is talented. He doesn't need to do all that, but maybe it gets him going mentally. He is polarizing, and that sells. Yeah, I don't know. I think it is something to do with his mentality, his maturity in different ways and stuff like that. There's a lot of greats and good players that let their game speak for themselves. Most of them, the most respected and the best ones, are like that. And that's what I'm saying. All this extracurricular stuff. It's the kind of like when I say LeBron, you kind of show how you're insecure about yourself when you have to profess that you are the greatest of all time all the time. Like, other people are supposed to, from the outside, tell you that you're the greatest of all time. You're not the one who's supposed to be going around anointing yourself or tooting your own horn in that kind of way. It kind of cheapens it. It makes it kind of look like you're insecure and needy, or maybe just a little bit like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Well, this is a similar kind of thing with Joel Embiid. That there's something needy about him. There's something insecure about him that makes him act out like this, is what I'm saying. That he's got an arrested development as an adult, that he has not fully matured as a person in his personality, is what I'm saying. And LeBron's the same kind of thing. It's the same kind of case. And LeBron's how much older? And he's still like that. And that's the thing. Maybe there's some sort of wisdom that Joel can get over his career and change this, but it may not be that way. He may be this way. And we're going to see this big baby into his 30s acting the same way like this. It's going to get so tired and old. And people are going to just be like, you're annoying, man. Go away. That kind of thing. Because Philly fan may eat it up and love him. But most of the league kind of thinks Joel Embiid is a kind of a fucking baby and kind of, got problems. And that's the thing. The perception of him around the league is he's going down, not just with Raptor fan. Like I said the other day, you can ask Cavaliers fan, you can ask Celtics fan, you can ask fans of other Eastern Conference teams how they feel about Joel Embiid, his foul calls, and the way he acts on the court. And they'll be like, yeah, he's a fucking bitch, is what they'll call him. It's like he told Nick Nurse to stop bitching. Well, you're number one bicho in the whole fucking league. You're the number one bitcher in the whole fucking league in some ways, in the Eastern Conference at least. We say you're the number one bitcher in the Eastern Conference, and LeBron's the number one bitcher in the Western Conference. You guys have those crowns for your heads there. Bitches is what I'm saying. But let's say the family saying we will win on our own court and change the series around. Stop saying we're going to lose. Life is crazy, and anything can happen when you believe. I love you, family. Thank you. I will stop saying this. I'm trying to stay grounded in reality here and hope for the best. I believe in our guys. I believe in the bet on yourself of Fred VanVleet. I believe in the doing it for you of Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam is playing for his father. He's playing for his brothers. He's playing for his family. He's playing for us fans. He's playing for the city of Toronto and for Canada. He's doing it for us. This is what he says. And with the power of Les Brown and other motivational speakers behind him, he opens the realm of possibility in his head and his mind for anything to happen, like you're saying, the family. That is the thing I love about Pascal, is he's not grounded or getting down on himself. He is thinking expansively and how he can succeed. And Fred has that chip on his shoulder. We saw it at the beginning of game 2. The way he came out gangbusters, bombing threes. This is something that is really important to him, is his pride and how he looks. And he does not want to be a loser. And in some ways, he's the cap now. He's the head of this team. and that he wants to show that he can lead this team towards success and not get swept in this first round. That's what we're talking about this morning. And I love what you said, the family, and thank you. You know what? You're right. I need to structure the way I say things to encourage the possibility of way more success and beautiful things happening for the Toronto Raptors, because this is true. We're back in Toronto tonight and anything can happen. We win tonight. That's some good momentum for Saturday. And Saturday's game's weird because it's at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, but still, that's the thing. We protect our home court like Philly did. And then there's a game 5 on Monday in Philadelphia. That's a really important game. Anything can happen, even up this series, and we'll see what happens. Oh, yeah. I love it, family. Thank you. Case saying it, we make this far, we can make it further. We will not fold in the first round. We will overcome. Thank you, Kay. Once again, another person who truly believes. And I believe also, guys, don't get it twisted. I just have to measure myself and not act too like, oh, yeah, we're going to win for sure. We're going to do this. I have to be in the realm of like what all could happen. So that, some people have come and looked at some of my old videos and like, wow, this didn't age well and stuff like that on my preview. And I'm like, well, you know what? I went by what we had going in health wise, and we didn't have a healthy Gary Trent Jr. And that kind of changed things in some ways. All right, let's see. Raymond Jacobs saying Embiid doesn't play well at Scotiabank. That does seem to be the case. Let's see if that continues. Like, I really do want our fans to be like Philly fan. Like, Philly fan was really engaged in the game. They were very verbal, very engaged in talking towards the court. We need to do the same thing. And I just hope that we don't get all these hoity-toity kind of like money people that are sitting around the court, and they're just kind of too good to do anything. They're just kind of like, oh, we're here. That kind of bullshit. I want people up out of their seats. I want people saying stuff. I want people talking. I want people cheering that are close to the court. I can't have these rich motherfuckers that just come there for prestige or trying to look good and shit like that. We need real ones out there. And we need you to be near the court, because the closer real ones are to the court, the better it is for the hostility and the atmosphere of the building, is what I'm saying. Yeah. Let's see. Pitto's saying it's as though we've been playing playoff ball for so long that we hit the wall now. That's an interesting observation. I could probably see that. We have been playing playoff intensity for most of the season. And in some ways, other teams weren't in that gear yet. Like Philadelphia wasn't completely playing in a playoff intensity when we beat them in the last game against them in the regular season. And now they're at a different gear. And we're not. We actually geared down in some ways from where we were finishing up the season. That's very interesting observation, Pitto. And it may be that we, much like a rookie could hit a rookie wall, our team might have hit a wall as far as like what we can do. And that's too bad that it happened and coincided with this, because it really looked like we were setting the table for a really nice playoff run to do some badass shit. And it's not over yet. Like the family in case said, we got to say that we're not done. That tonight we're going to do some shit and we're going to get at least one win and do it tonight and get that win tonight in game 3. G saying we have so much length. Tall ball lineup is needed. I would love to see some more positionless. Instead of this other direction where we play 2 point guards at the same time. I don't like that, Nick Nurse. Get our tall guys out there and let's really see what positionless kind of schemes can do in these situations. Philly fan Mark Miller saying, I'd rest Barnes. Last thing you need is for him to tweak or fall awkwardly, and he's out multiple weeks. Like I said, no injuries. Injuries suck in the playoffs. Yeah, that is kind of the balance we got to figure out, because he's got a youthful enthusiasm and a desire, I'm sure, to be out there. Even if he's like probably not supposed to be out there, he'd probably say, yeah, I can play. I want to play. He's not like LeBron. He's going to want to play even if he shouldn't. And he'll probably try and make it up, say, yeah, I can play, put me in. But they really do need to be cautious with this, because this is a very important future kind of guy, like Tyrese Maxey for Philadelphia, Scotty Barnes for us. And we need to really protect him and make sure he's going to be okay for the future. And I you know what, I'll agree with this. I would probably rest him tonight also. But if we're facing an elimination game on Saturday and he is kind of able to go, I will bet you he will play. Paul B saying we were in this position last time we were in the playoffs. We only needed 0.5 seconds to turn this thing around. Raps in 6. I love it. Yes. Let's keep believing. I believe too. G saying, Paul's so true. I remember this feeling a few times, even against the Bucks. Momentum changes everything. That's the thing. That's why these guys were saying all last week they have to stay even keeled. They can't get too low with the lows. They can't get too high with the highs. And maybe in some ways, maybe Philadelphia are a little bit too high with the highs, and that might burn them. hopefully tonight when we beat their ass on our court. So yeah, it's really is that kind of way. Like all the news that's coming out from the team and stuff like that is the guys are upbeat. The guys aren't holding their heads. The guys aren't depressed. They're not sad. They know they have some serious shit to do, and they got a lot of work to do, and they got to prove something. But they're not holding their heads. They're not like down on themselves, and they don't have some like doubt in that they can't do it. They still believe they can fully accomplish the things that we're talking about right here. And that is all really important because like some young teams will get really depressed and they're just done. They're done. And that's not us. We're not done. We, like I said a couple times this week, we're going to fight right up until the very end. And that's just who we are and stuff like that. So yeah, momentum can change a whole lot. G, I agree. Sue's saying, yeah, injuries are part of the game, but they do suck at Mark. And yes, we got you. You're friendly now. We won't ban you. Yeah, all right. You know, Mark's ingratiated himself, much like Random Gamer, Jo, Blue City. They're all fine with being in here. As a Sixers fan, watching that 2019 series going neck and neck with the Raptors, I thought that was the best Sixers team I've watched in 10 years. Definitely affected me for months. Yeah, I mean, that's got to be hard. And honestly, in a lot of ways, you guys were unlucky that that shot did fall in. I mean, that could have easily gone all kinds of different crazy ways. It was really a testament to Kawhi and his hands and his skill. Like one of the reasons why Kawhi Leonard is such a great player in the NBA is his giant hands cause such an incredible inertia of spin off of them. And it really was like, it's like in pool, if you're really good in billiards with like your English and getting the right hit on the top spin or the bottom spin, you can make amazing shots, make way more high percentage. And that was part of it. So many people said that was luck, but there's a lot of skill involved in it because of the way that Kawhi practiced his shots over the years and the way that he has the ball come off his very long fingers. It really puts that extra spin that is that kind of spin that shoots the ball right into the basket kind of thing. And that's why that shot went in is because of Kawhi's skill with his giant hands. A player that doesn't have hands as giant as his probably can't shoot it that way. And that's one of the things I really love about Scotty Barnes and his prospects is he has Kawhi Leonard giant hands. And one of the things that he'll hopefully develop over the years in his young career is that kind of spin. If he can really make that spin off his hands that Kawhi does, if he can duplicate that, he can become a hugely really good shooter. Somebody that can make like an incredible amount of percentage of his shots. He's already shooting way better than they predicted in his rookie year. Everybody said that was his knock. The only thing, he's great. He looks like a stud and all this, but he couldn't shoot. That's like what all these fucking Fran Fraschilla, Jay Billis, these fucking idiots were saying in the draft last year. Well, this motherfucker can shoot. Like his percentage this year, shooting percentage has been fantastic as a rookie. So if that was their only knock, I don't get it. And especially since he's already shown like huge growth with his shot in this first year, I really expect him to go even further with it. And that's one of the things I expect from Scotty Barnes is getting that kind of high percentage, really good like spin English on his shot like Kawhi Leonard. And that's why I keep making comparisons to him to Kawhi is because he could become this really dominant player in the low post where he can hit these bank shots and all these kind of crazy, like going over guys, backing them down, low post kind of shit that Kawhi does just with his strength and his actual like package of talent in his body and athletically. And that's the kind of thing I'm looking at. But yeah, I can understand why you have trauma from that time. And you know what? I agree with you. That team that you guys had that year was fantastic. That was a badass Sixers team. And in hindsight, when you think about the guys that you had in your lineup at that time, it was amazing, honestly, in some ways. I discount Ben Simmons all around. I've always thought he was a punk. I always thought he was way overvalued. I felt like he was anointed a golden boy right away. I never thought that he deserved Rookie of the Year. I didn't think that he deserved all the accolades he was already getting. It was all kind of being handed it to him. And now we're seeing that you do that. You give handouts to people like him, and you see how they act. And they act this way. And like, I hate Ben Simmons, and I'm not even a Sixers fan. Like, I honestly, in some ways, I was happy that he was fucking y'all up, but also was like, that is not classy. And the way that he kind of handcuffed y'all this season with his situation was really kind of fucked up. And like, honestly, I can understand why he's dead to y'all. And in a lot of ways, to me, I think he's washed. I think that you guys got in his head and as a fan base, and that you should continue to do that because you have a lot of power over him, apparently, way more power over him than he wants to admit. And yeah, I will root for Sixers fan nation over Ben Simmons every single time, just because of the way that all went down this year. Just as a little sprig of peace offering to you, I give you that, Mark Miller. Sue saying, yeah, if that happened to the Raps, I think I would have been curled up in a ball for a while. It was a once in a career kind of shot. I mean, seriously, if it wasn't a Toronto Raptor who did that shot, they'd be talking about that being the greatest shot in the history of the NBA ever. Like in the whole entire history of the NBA, if it wasn't a Toronto player doing it for Toronto, they would put that on blast all over the place. Like if it was the other way, it was a Sixer, they would be saying this was the greatest shot in the history of the NBA ever. Oh my gosh, and stuff like that. But they won't do that with us. They're going to say, yeah, that was fantastic. It was one of the greatest, but they won't say it was the greatest, even though it probably was, because that's a fucking game 7. That's the last second. That's a 3-point shot. And talk about high drama. Like if you're filming this, you're Steven Spielberg and you're making a movie, you're making Teen Wolf 4 or something right now, and the end of your movie has this crazy, incredible bounce shot in slow motion. That's just like perfect movie stuff. What happened with Kawhi? It's insane. So yeah, it's like once again, that's what I'll say about it is if this happened with an American team, they would be poster. They would have put this shit up as the best fucking last minute clutch shot ever in the history of the league. And some people do say that on the American side, and I appreciate that. But I don't think it gets its due for just how special and amazing that moment was as far as things. And I can understand there's trauma from that. I can totally understand that. Mark's saying, right, if we matched up that well against them in 2019, maybe Sixers could have won it all if it wasn't for that last second shot. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the one thing I will say about the difference between your team now and then is Embiid is a totally different player now. I know I keep saying this. Embiid wasn't as good in 2019, and he's way better now. He's way, way, way better now. I have to give credit where credit is due. And that is probably the reason why your team, even though maybe overall you don't have as many good, really good players like Jimmy and JJ Redick and people like that on this edition of the Sixers, but at least you have Joel Embiid who has made huge strides. And then also we can't discount Maxi's appearance in his second year as an NBA player. He's done a lot of stuff really fast for only being in his second year. It's really, really good development from him. Let's see, Clink's here saying, let's just see players play great hoops without the drama. Tonight we dine on floppy joes. Floppy joes. I love that. You said floppy JoJo's. Floppy JoJo's. There's a picture of him and Harden laying on the court at the same time, and all the Raptors going like this, like, and they're laying there and like, oh my gosh, like it's hilarious. And that whole play, like Sixer fan is trying to say that Precious or OG or somebody fouled James Harden that play, but it was Joel Embiid pushed one of our guys into him, and that's kind of how that whole pile happened and stuff like that. I don't know. It's so silly. Some of this stuff is so silly. I agree with Greg. Let's just see the game played, good hoops, and just have a good time. And like we said over and over again, no injuries, no nothing, just good stuff, good fun, entertaining NBA action. And hopefully the Raptors win tonight. I hope and I believe that we will protect our home court here in the 416, and we will have a win at the end of the night tonight, because I'm going over to Adriana's house. G saying, Alexi, Kawhi made that exact shot with the 4 bounces in another game, not as a Raptor. He practiced that so much. His mechanics on it are so fine-tuned that if it hits the rim, the chances are that it goes in. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get across. G said it better than me, is that like that was very intentional. And like he said, he's practiced that shot, and he made that shot for the Spurs like years before and stuff like that. So yeah, I agree with that. A lot of people said it was a lucky bounce, but there's a lot of skill and intention and practice and how he shot it and got it to go in like that. Adrian, another new name. We're here every morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. I start my stream and we talk Raptors every single day. He's saying Drake is what's called a global ambassador. He has his emblem on the Raptors practice facility, but I don't think he's part owner. Yeah, I don't think he has any ownership in the team, but he definitely has a vested interest in it as a good Toronto native, a person who grew up in the city and a person that really loves the NBA. And he's just like me. It's like when that came together, as far as like, oh, John Bitove Group is getting an NBA franchise in Toronto. And it's like, oh, that's my city and that's my sport. Boom. Instantly, that's like put this capsule in water and boom, you get a little spongy dinosaur. That's the same thing that happened with me. You put me in that capsule of water and boom, I'm a Raptors fan for life before they even have any players or even have the team name. It's just, I read that article one day. I'm like, wow, now I have a favorite team because this is the Venn diagram of things that I love, the city I love and the sport that I love. I'm now a Toronto Raptors fan, and I didn't even know what the name of the team was at that point. And that's really where it started for me. It's like that. And I'm sure Drake was the same way as a youngster. Like he's always been a Raptor fan since he was in the Degrassi show way back in the days and stuff like that. So he's a real one, even though he kind of crosses over and like I've heard he put this huge bet on Golden State to get to the finals. It's very interesting that they put that bet like $200,000 or something on Golden State to make it to the NBA finals this year. Very interesting stuff by Drake. But maybe he knows something just because, like I said, he talks a lot to Steph Curry. Steph Curry and him are good buddies. Raymond Jacobs saying that, Mark, maybe if you guys didn't have Ben Simmons, he held you guys back. In some ways he did. I mean, he was very overhyped. Like, honestly, for a guy who can't shoot, like, I understand he has all these other intangibles with his size and his ball handling skill and different things like that. But I thought he was always overrated as a defensive player. They kept saying he's such a good defensive player, but I didn't see it. Like, I felt like that was a lot of hot air in itself. And like, I never really valued him as much as like so many other people did. Like, they're saying he's this, he's that. He says, why are you fucking giving him so much? And he hasn't proved jack shit yet because the NBA really wanted to anoint him a golden boy. And well, he's kind of really fucked that all up. I don't understand how they can. I mean, they're still trying to salvage him as far as like a star in the league and stuff like that. But I think it's really done because like he did a Kawhi. And you know what? This is the thing, Ben Simmons. You can't do a Kawhi when you haven't won anything yet. Kawhi had won a championship with San Antonio and he was forcing his way out and he had a little more clout. Well, you don't. Like, you're a little bit closer to having one step out of the NBA, Ben Simmons, without having proven anything. And now your mental problems, I'm not trying to make light of somebody who has mental problems, stuff like that. But these are big issues because this is a tough league. And you have to have intestinal fortitude and the ability to take the punishment and the abuse from the crowd and from different people. And I think you're soft, man. I don't know if you're going to be able to deal with this in the right way. Because sure, you're going to get it when you go back to Philadelphia. You are going to get it, and rightfully so. But you may not realize how much you're going to get it in other places too. Like when you come to Toronto as a Brooklyn Net, we're going to give it to you also. And we're going to tell you just what of a loser you are also when you come to Toronto also. And you may find that on your world tour when you go around the NBA as a Brooklyn Net. You can find the same thing in other places because people do not respect people who sit out and then they whine and cry. They demand a trade and then they want their money still. Like, what the fuck is that, dude? I'm sorry. And I'm sure a Philly fan is eating up what I'm saying right now. And this is a real area where we can get on the same place and be like completely 100% on the same page. Yeah, Paul B is here and he is saying we need a Gary 30 piece. I agree, Paul B. I agree. If he can do it, man, oh my gosh, but he may not physically be able to do it. And I don't understand this malady, this sickness that he has. I just want it to be all right. Okay, this guy, Omazi, you guys let him through. He's saying, Kawhi is gone, dude. Let it go. Laugh out loud. Okay, he's talking to him. He's talking to Mark. Yeah. And then Mark Miller saying, I hate Ben Simmons. Alexi, we agree on something. Haha, cheer. Yes. I always thought he was like way overhyped. Way over, like when he was playing for y'all, it's like, what the fuck did they think of this guy? Like, I think Tobias Harris is better than him. I'm like, why are they putting so much on him and saying, ooh, he's so good and stuff like that? I never thought he earned it. And then you see what happens when you give people things when they haven't really earned it. They get into their head and they think they're more important than they really are. And that's the thing. I think he's washed. I think in a lot of ways, he might have fucked up his career the way he treated the Sixers this year. Omazi saying, thank you, man. That's classy. Good to see a new name. I love the name and I love the you're yelling. This is really good because like all caps is yelling to me and I love it. Mark saying respect. Floppy JoJo's, I'm crying. Yeah, I know that I've heard the Sixers announcers and the lady they call him JoJo. And I'm like, why do they call him JoJo? It's like a weird pet name. Like it's like I think of like the R&B singer JoJo when I hear them say JoJo's going to the basket, JoJo. I'm like, or I think of like a dog. Like somebody names their dog JoJo, come here, it's dinner. JoJo, come here. It's like a weird nickname for Joel Embiid. I don't know, totally understand it. Floppy JoJo's and Canadian maple syrup. Oh, Tom Duke, and now he's got the maple leaf flag, maple leafs out there as the emoticons. Tom Duke, I've missed your emoticon art. Please, if you can grace us with one more of your pieces of work before the end of the stream today, I will have a big smile on my head. All right, Paul B saying Josh Lewinberg just tweeted from shoot around quoting Nick Nurse saying Scotty maybe plays tonight. No boot on. Ooh, Paul B, thank you for giving me the update. Since I can't go and check what Lewinberg's saying right this minute, I love that you're on top of this, Paul, and you brought this information to us. This is good. He's not wearing the boot, and he's actually at shoot around right now. This is what I'm saying. The other day when Scotty got interviewed on Monday, he said, I might be back sooner than you think. Is kind of what he did. And I was saying it's like a poker tell. And that's why I was thinking he might be back for tonight. So this is going to be interesting. Mark Miller saying, I'm a Sixers fan, but I'm even more a Drake fan. So we're all good. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. I love Drake. Drake had some really awesome videos last year. I really love What's Next and like the sexy, I'm too sexy. That video that he did with Kawhi in it. And Kawhi's like standing there. Look, he's so confused. Like, that's hilarious shit. Like Drake did a whole homage to all kinds of things. It's like he was doing a Weird Al video in that video. He did the Right Said Fred. He did he was doing Rambo at one point. It was like UFC, Weird Al Yankovic, but it was Drake in a music video. A lot of people hate Drake. A lot of people don't like his music, but I like it. And I'm somebody who studies music. I went to university, studied music theory. I was a FM DJ radio down in Florida for 10 years. I really study music and understand it. And there's stuff about Drake's music that is actually really, really impressive. And that's not just the homer in me saying that. So yeah, he's the kind of guy that I can see where people find him cheesy and arrogant and stuff like that. But once again, we have to understand that this man has dominated the music industry in the modern era, like Michael Jackson did during his era, and that there is a lot of due that needs to be given to him. And that in some ways, he's kind of like Michael Jordan or U2. They get so big, people hate them. And that is what happens with Drake. And I love to hear that Mark is actually a Drake fan and stuff like that. That's cool. I like that. Respect. All right, let's keep going. Greg saying you aren't going to fix what's wrong with Ben Simmons, putting him in a locker room with egos like Kyrie, Durant, and a bunch of ring chasers, rolling on the floor laughing. Yeah, I agree with this. Like anybody who thinks in Brooklyn right now that thinks that Ben Simmons is some sort of fucking savior, like they keep putting news reports out that he's ready to play. He's almost ready to play. Like he's going to come in the fucking playoffs and help them. He's going to fuck your team up more than he's going to help your team. I'm going to tell you right now. You can't just add players at this stage in the season, in the postseason, and think that it's all going to work out. He hasn't had no time, real time to gel or get things going. He's more likely to fuck them up with all kinds of turnovers and all kinds of shit like that. Go ahead, Nets. You want to fucking play Ben Simmons in this playoff this year? You might be smart to just hold off and wait and bring him into the system in training camp over the summer. Don't bring him back now because listen, he's probably gonna fuck you up. You might lose to Boston if you bring back Ben Simmons right now. This is what I'm saying right now. Yeah. And I like what you're saying, Greg, because it's true. That locker room is a very unique locker room in the NBA place. It's more like the Lakers locker room in some ways than we want to actually admit. That there are different things and stuff like that. They really navigated the Kyrie thing this year very well, considering that he couldn't play most of their games. But in some ways, there's got to be like kind of like, you fucked us up in some ways. Like when Kevin got hurt, we could have really used you more, but you were still busy doing your flat earth bullshit. That's the thing is that, it's going to be, and the market is just as bad. Like if he starts playing shitty for the Nets and he doesn't look good for them, they're going to be on him just like Sixers Nation was on him there. And that's the thing. He's got to show a toughness as a person that he may not have as a person. And that may be why he's washed. That may be why he's washed. Even at such a young age, he may be washed. Mark Miller's saying, Alexi destroying Ben Simmons. Love it. I'll be here every day if you keep it up. Listen, man. Yeah, this is the thing. The Raptors are a team that work really hard. We have a lunch pail. We like people that work hard and earn things because we have to work so hard to earn every little thing that we get as the Raptors franchise. That I see the privilege and the things that are handed to other people around the league in different ways, and it just pisses me off. So I will go off on him. And Ben Simmons is one of those guys. Oh, yeah. And so I'm saying we need one tonight. Go Raps. Go catch the rest of the show after work. All right. Yeah. Ansem, have a good day at work. Yeah. Hopefully I won't be like 3.5 hours like yesterday, but always respect Ansem. And I'll catch up with you when you're done, man. Blue City's here. Good to see Blue City again. I was never a Ben Simmons fan. I was always an Embiid fan, and I kept telling my fellow Sixers fans that we should have kept Butler. Yeah. Those are two things. Like if you could have changed that back in time, and you kept Jimmy Butler, and then you let Ben Simmons go instead. Yeah, think about where you'd be right now with Maxey, Butler still, and Embiid. Oh my gosh, Sixers, you guys would be badasses. Because, like, listen, one of the things about Jimmy Butler is he's the opposite of Ben Simmons to me. I super respect Jimmy Butler because he is somebody who really cares about winning. He does it the right way. He's hardworking. He does all those intangibles and different things like that. And he's somebody I would have loved to have on the Raptors at some point. I know the things that happened with him in Minnesota were hilarious. As far as like, he's like, you fucking guys aren't even trying and shit like that, and yelling at his team. And he really like made it so he had to leave. But in a way, that's probably smart for him career wise. It's like, I can't play for the Minnesota anymore because I've worn out my welcome and pissed them off here. And then he came to y'all, and it was like, wow, that was badass. And he really was a good fit with y'all. And I understand. I don't know exactly how it all went down because I don't pay completely close attention to all the NBA goings-ons about why he left y'all's team and y'all didn't re-sign him and he went to Miami and stuff like that. But yeah, if you could have that switch right now, and you see what happened with Simmons, and it may mean you don't have Harden right now. But if you had Maxey, Butler, and Embiid right now, holy crap, look out. Oh, my gosh. Paul B. saying, Trent is feeling better, but not great. Will play and probably start, but will be monitored closely. Okay, Paul B. with the update to the date, up to the minute. Injury update. Here we go. Okay, Scotty's playing without a boot right now in shoot around this morning. It looks like he could possibly play tonight. And then Gary is actually feeling better, but not great. He's going to play and probably start, but he's going to be monitored closely. It'll be similar to Monday, but hopefully he'll have a little more in the tank, a little bit more to put out on the court, and not absolutely nothing. So hopefully we see that. Let's see. Mark Miller saying, "Need my chips with a dip." He's quoting Drake. Yeah, Drake was like, he loves these chips with a dip, and that's what I'm saying. Like, listen, let's not get it twisted. All fan nation, Sixer nation, Raptor nation, Nets nation, Celtic nation, we all want more chips for our dips. And that's what ultimately the thing is. We all want to be friends with Larry, and we want to hang out with him for a year, Larry O.B. And, that's the thing. That's the ultimate thing. And I love that Drake got to say that, and we did actually get some chips with a dip. And other teams want that. That's what Philly fan wants so bad. They haven't tasted that chips in the dip since, Dr. J and Moses Malone and, Andrew Toney. And people like this. Yeah, I just dropped Andrew Toney. It's like I know my Sixers. I know my stuff. Let's see. Fan Chung saying, "All right, let's get a win with Scotty or Roy tonight." Yeah, Scotty Roy boy, get out there tonight, Mr. Roy. Scotty Roy Barnes. It's officially his new middle name. We have changed your name legally behind your back, Scotty. Look at your license. It says Scotty Roy Barnes on it now. That's right. That's your new nickname, your new middle name. Scotty Roy. All right, Tom Duke's giving me the emoticons that I wanted. Let's see, we got a maple leaf. We've got a star face. We got cowboy. We got a celebratory. We got a nice lady who's celebrating. Her mind might be exploding. I'm not sure. We the North, and we got another maple leaf, and then we got a bus. Another parade coming to Toronto soon with the clock. Let's go. Crepes, pancakes, or JoJo's on for everybody on me. That's right. Tom Duke's paying for the pancakes to pour the maple syrup on tonight. Hopefully, we see some syrup get poured on for the Raptors tonight on the big fat stack of pancakes that Mark Davis loves to eat. Mark Davis, we will come and bring you the best flapjacks to the game tonight, if you will give us some favor tonight, we will bring you some pancakes. Oh yeah, we will, because that's his favorite food, y'all. That I get that in depth. I'm finding out the referee's favorite food. And yes, I will do some red Auerbach kind of, trying to get some favor by giving them what they want. Click 2AM saying chances of losing the series are high. Just don't get swept. That's what I am saying too. Like, let's do damage control at this point. We need to look better against them. We need to have at least one feel-good game in this series. Even if we get put out at some point, we need to have one bright light where we actually won one game. We need to get at least one. At least one. And tonight is the night, baby. 420. Smoke him if you got him. All right, Click 2AM saying, I don't want Scotty playing if he could re-aggravate his injury. I agree with this. Let's side on the err on this side of caution. But it's really up to Scotty. It's up to McKechnie. It's up to Nick Nurse. It's up to Bobby Webster. It's up to Masai Ujiri. And they'll know, and they won't do anything stupid that could cause something even worse, possibly. So I think he's just a young stud and that he's bounced back. That this happened on Saturday night, and now it's 5 days later. It could very well be that he is completely ready to play. So Raymond saying, Tom, right on. I have Raps taking it all. Common, if we get this version of all NBA Pascal, Freddie All-Star, OG Oh My, Scotty Roy, Gary Trent Jr. Starboy, then we can beat any team. Hell yeah. Yeah, we're at our full strength and we're clicking. We have shown that we can beat any team in this damn league. And it doesn't matter if it's a Western juggernaut. It doesn't matter if it's an Eastern good team. We have beaten them all this year. We have literally beaten them all pretty much. There's a couple of teams we didn't beat, like Detroit, but we won't talk about that. But yeah, listen, these guys are playing at their right level, which they haven't yet. There's been a couple of guys who played really good in certain spots, like Chris in the last game, OG in the last game. But really, otherwise, there's not been a single other person other than Scotty in the first game, too. I'll say Scotty in the first game, Chris in the second game, OG in the second game. But everybody else did not play up to their potential or even better than their potential. And that's what we're going to need. We're going to need somebody to really step up and carry that water and do it and have some pride for the Raptors in getting us a win tonight for sure. We need one of our guys to be the best player on the court tonight. And that is absolutely essential for us to win. Anselm saying, I only want Scotty out there if he's really healed. Yep, I agree with that, Anselm. Blue City saying, Jimmy Butler wanted to stay with the Sixers, but Ben Simmons, that's another story. That's what I'm saying. It's like, why aren't you reading the room? I know that you guys have had problems with your management as far as your GM and your, different times in your history, you've had inept people running the Sixers. And I'd hate to think that that is still kind of what is happening. And that is why Jimmy Butler walked away, because it did seem like he really liked playing for y'all. And it was a super good fit. And that's why I'm really weird that like he's not with you guys anymore and that he did go to Miami. And maybe that Miami just like they lured him. They said, look, we're going to give you this, this, and this and stuff like that. And he's like, ooh, this is good. I'm going to go here and stuff like that. I don't know. It may not have been completely in your control. But yeah, that was mystifying to me when he left. And I was like, Philadelphia just instantly got worse because that guy was the heart and soul of your team in a lot of ways. Greg saying Paul B, A++ sideline reporter. Yeah, really good job, Paul, coming in here and giving us this update on what's happening with the shoot around this morning with Gary Trent and Scotty Barnes. Very important information that I can't get while I'm on here, and I appreciate it. Blue City saying also, what do you think about basketball Paul playing for the 76ers? B-ball Paul. I'm not sure which Paul you're talking about. Are you talking about Chris Paul? Are you talking about Paul Millsap? Are you talking about, I'm not sure who you're talking about. You might have to elaborate, Blue City, but I will answer your question. Are you talking about Paul Reed? Paul Reed's great, like as a backup forward and different things. Yeah, okay, it was Paul Reed. He's a great backup forward, great project. He's the kind of guy that would fit in really well with our scheme in Toronto. It seems like he can do a lot of that stuff. I don't know. I haven't seen much of his ball handling, though. Like, can he dribble the ball pretty good? And can he shoot the three? That's the other thing, because he could be the kind of guy that's a prototype for what we do in Toronto with our long arm monsters, as Greg puts it. I give the copyright to Greg with the Lambs and the long arm monsters, stuff like that. But yeah, I like Paul Reed. He's a great prospect also. But obviously Maxi's your best young player. But Paul Reed may be coming up right behind him. We'll have to see. Mark Miller saying, Alexi, don't forget to mention Sixers don't have Matisse Thybulle for Toronto games. Yeah, I did my injury report right at the beginning, and I mentioned Bassey's out for y'all, and then Thybulle is not allowed to enter the country. Yeah. Paul's saying Clink, thanks. Waiting for your next video that describes how we win it all. Yeah, I'm waiting for that one too. I want to see that one, Greg. And if you want to put me in there somewhere, I'm always happy to be a collaboration, even if you're just cutting and splicing me in there into like a little frame on your mantle. If I'm just a picture in your mantle or something like that, I really prefer you to put me in there over Goran. Like maybe I could do this. Do me doing the shush, because I hate seeing Goran's face on your channel. I'm not gonna lie, Greg. I hate seeing Goran's face on your channel. Put me in the frame instead of him, because I hate Goran Dragon so much, and I don't like that you keep putting him up in front of us like that and stuff like that. All right, let's see. All right, keep on going. Yeah, you guys are saying Paul Reed. Yeah, Paul Reed, great prospect. You guys have a couple of them, like Maxey and him. Bam, look out. These guys could be your really important future guys. And he could be really good for y'all soon. Like Paul Reed, maybe next year, he may be fighting for a starting position for y'all, because he could be a really good power forward next to Joel Embiid. So that's just what I've seen with him. And I saw most of him play in the G League. I watched a lot of the Raptors 905 games against Delaware Bluecoats, and that's where I was really seeing most of Paul Reed's work. Was not on the main roster. I was watching him in G League. Paul B saying, are we low-key setting up the Harden meltdown, Doc Rivers series lead meltdown? Are we on track to whoop these Sixers in the most entertaining way? You know what? Paul just brought up something very interesting. That this is true. Doc Rivers has had history in the playoffs of getting leads and then having everything absolutely go to shit. And who knows? I mean, this would be the only way that Nick Nurse could salvage winning the coaching battle, is if he figures it out and we bust it open the other way going for us, and then all of a sudden they can't adjust or figure out how to beat us, and then like we end up winning the series after they won the first two games in the series. That definitely means Doc Rivers will probably get canned. Yeah, I could see that. And like Harden meltdown, I don't know what's going on with Harden. Like honestly, like I said yesterday, I'm super impressed with him. He seems like he's being very functional for the team. He's playing within a role that they want for him. He's not pushing so hard. Like he doesn't give a shit about getting his points right now. He doesn't give a shit about other things. In fact, the thing that he gives a shit the most about is making his teammates look good. And that's the thing. Harden is not seeming to be a problem like he has been in the past in different ways. It's really not going to be during the series or in the playoffs that he's going to be the problem. It's going to be the problem is going to be in the off season. The problem is going to be when they come back to training camp and he looks like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And Kevin Durant was pissed at him last year for the same thing. And it's going to be the same kind of thing this off season, is that he probably will go get out of shape and then have to come back. And it may be because he's so much older than Joel that Joel will just concede it. And it's like, well, it's just James being James. I can't really say anything because I'm a younger vet than him, and I have to respect him. Sorry, this always happens near me. There's a siren going on outside. But that's the thing. It may be because he's younger than James and not like Kevin was more like on the same age, that they could really kind of be like ego like that. In some ways, James is kind of like the main leader, the veteran leader, just because of his longer experience. And it may be that Joel can't hold like grudge against him if he comes in like that kind of way. It may be like, I don't care, man. We're so happy and everything's good anyway. Whereas Kevin, it really irked him this season in Brooklyn that James did not come back in the right shape. And that was a big problem this year for the Nets. So that's where the problems with Harden will happen that way. If there are going to be problems, it could be that they just accept him for who he is, and he's just going to do that, and they'll let him work into shape, and it's not a big problem either. That could happen also too. But we'll see. Like I said, I'm getting more respect for James Harden in this series just because how unselfish he's being, and he's being a really good teammate. And I have to say that. I haven't seen him be a good teammate at different times in his career sometimes, but he's actually doing it right now. And that may be just he's older and wiser and stuff like that. So let's see. Tom Duke saying, yes, sir, Paul B. Waiting for just that. We have all seen it before. Like, I really hope so too, that these kind of things can happen. I honestly, I usually don't believe in Doc Rivers, but these first two games have made me believe in him more as an NBA coach in a lot of ways. Like at the beginning of my season preview, I was saying, well, Doc Rivers may be a dinosaur as a head coach in this league, and the game might have passed him, but right now he's proven me wrong. And I have to admit that. Raymond Jacobs saying also at Paul B and at Tom, not counting my chickens till the end. The Sixers team is tough as fuck. That's right. We can't be overconfident. We can't do this kind of. We have to earn stuff before we can talk any smack. Before we can write any checks that we can cash, we need to actually earn some of that first. And we haven't. And that's the whole reason why I wanted y'all to guard me from these rabid pack of Sixers fans who just want to really dig in to our carcass and just yell and like be like, ah, and stuff like that. I can't have that. Greg saying at Paul B, haha, hopefully I get a reason to roll that video out this year. Win, loss, great playoffs so far. Win or lose, our boys get experience and learn from our Sherpas what it takes to bring Larry back. This is all experiences. Like I said, there's an escalator, and the Sixers have gone and taken their lumps over the years. Where you go all the way back to 2019, each year they've gotten to a certain place in the playoffs. And last year was the Hawks that put them out. So they've had tough lessons each year in learning to get further in the playoffs. And it may be that they're just further along as a little bit older team and having more playoff experience, and that our guys on the escalator are just a couple steps behind them. But once again, like I said, guys can get better really fast, and you can leap teams on the escalator all of a sudden. Like, boom, all of a sudden you're ahead of them. But right now, it looks like Philadelphia is ahead of us on the playoff development, playoff ready kind of scale is what I'm saying here. Blue City saying Paul Reed won NBA G League Rookie of the Year. He won it this year. Congratulations, man. Like Delaware had a really good year, and they did put us out in the playoffs. And he was a big part of it. And we had one guy get the all G League second team, which I wasn't happy with. Reggie Perry was a guy, and he's kind of our counterpart in our system was Reggie Perry to Paul Reed. But yeah, kudos to him. And like that's an award that's been won by some Raptors before. Like I think, well, no, Chris Boucher didn't win it, but he won MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the G League one year. And Pascal's won awards in that level also back in the day too. But yeah, I didn't realize that he was actually the G League Rookie of the Year this year. Congratulations once again. And that's saying a lot because there's a lot of good players in the G League and stuff like that. Paul B hates Goran more. I hate Goran a lot. You hate him more. We can get into this discussion. Could be a really in-depth footage that we do. Paul B and I arguing about who hates Goran more. It's not a contest, Paul. Greg saying, I'm going to grab you for a vid very soon. I'm going to give you the big frame, Lex. Laugh out loud about Goran. The Dragon's Lullaby. You can have the long arm monster line, but I want to see 5 on the court at a time tonight. Let's go. Yeah, we're crying out for this. Like a couple people have said this already in the stream. They want to see the positionless scheme. They want to see the 5 long arm monsters out there. And that means Fred's getting a breather, and we're running the point through Pascal Siakam, and maybe Delano Banton could be one of those 5 long arm monsters in that lineup. I really do love that lineup, and I'm with you guys. They're crying out for it. Let's see that tonight and see if we can get some success for it. And it'd be great if our boy Scotty is involved in it. He's actually part of it too. Mark Miller saying Doc would be gone if he blew this lead, and I'm all for it. See, that's what I'm saying. Sixers fan is admitting that if they lose this series somehow, some way, that Doc Rivers should get fired. And yeah, that's confirmation right there. Greg saying also, trust the process, Raps fans. Embiid plus fair whistle equals a series, and that's all we can ask for. Floppy Joes with maple syrup, yum. That sounds really gross for some reason. Floppy Joes? Like, it makes me think it's like a sloppy Joe, but maybe it's like really fatty, like meat. And it's like maybe spammy with like the sauce, and like the lunch lady with the mole on her chin is like put it on your bun on your tray, and you're back in like middle school and you're like, there's my floppy Joe. It's not even a sloppy Joe because of the fat percentage. It's a floppy Joe. That sounds so gross. And then this kid's so fucked up. He gets the maple syrup and he just starts with and then he eats. Oh, gross, man. That's some shit they make people eat on Fear Factor. They don't want to eat that. Oh my gosh. Tom's all about it though. Yum, yum, yum. He's got the maple leaves and he's got oil cans full of syrup ready for us. Oh my God. And he's got the plate and the fork and the knife out. Tom Duke, you are the one, man. You are a badass. Oh, you know what's coming up, Tom. You know we're going to be getting into that real mascot matchup very soon. Oh my gosh. Greg saying, well said, Lex. Harden has accepted his role like Dr. Kyle in 2019 when his scoring went down, Harden has become a huge factor. Yeah, yeah. I hate to admit it because he's the kind of guy that I love to see fail. Like seriously, because he has been a knucklehead the last couple years. Like the stuff with how he forces his way out of teams and just the way he acts and stuff like pisses me off. But in some ways, I'm really happy they changed the rules in the NBA so he can't do his kickouts and all his bullshit like him and Trae Young were doing. And that's hurt his game, and he's had to adjust it. And he's adjusted in a way that's actually pretty interesting in some ways. Like it really is utilizing his amazing vision on the court. James Harden, very interesting. Omazi TV saying, what do you think Embiid and Nurse were saying to each other in the game? Well, we've gone over this a little bit, but I'll go over it again like right now. Joel's saying that he said respectfully, he was telling him to quit bitching about the calls, and like that's not respectful. First of all, Joel, that's not respectful. That doesn't jive with what you're saying. I was being respectful and I told him to quit bitching. Well, first of all, talking to the head coach like that at the end of the game is just the first step right there is not respectful in the first place. And then the other thing is Nick Nurse was trying to say, like you saying, he was saying to him, you keep fouling me. And it's like, I'll keep making my free throws. And he said, well, we're going to keep fouling you. Is basically the back and forth they also said there. But there's also, if you can lip read, if you really watch the footage a couple times, you can see that Nick Nurse says that's bullshit at one moment, I think. And then he kind of also says something. But I don't know exactly what they said. They both said different things about what was said. Maybe both things were said. But once again, it doesn't change anything. This is just like, to me, Will Smith getting up on the stage and slapping the shit out of Chris Rock. It's just totally unnecessary, and it makes him look bad. That's what it looks like to me, Frankenstein Will Smith. Is that it looks like you just went up on stage and slapped the shit out of Chris Rock, and everybody's like, what the fuck? Why did you do that? And if I was I know Sixer fan is like really laughing about it, making memes about it and stuff like that, but honestly, you might have given us some locker room fodder, something to put on the wall, something that Fred VanVleet saw. He's like, this motherfucker's talking to my coach like this. And then all of a sudden, these guys are getting Jordan kind of motivation from it. That's the thing that Sixer fans should be like, Joel, don't do that. Don't do that, because it is kind of poking the bear. And you don't want to give more motivation to the other team if you don't have to. And he didn't have to do that. That's what I'm trying to say, is that he didn't have to do that. And it's an immaturity that could come around and bite him in the ass for it, is basically what I'm saying with that. But yeah, that's my whole take on that, Omazi, and what I think. Greg saying Reed was great in G League playoffs. I was at that game. Reggie was in Portland and missed the playoffs. Big factor. Yeah, that's right, Greg. You did go to that game. I remember you saying that you were going to that game. If we had Reggie Perry to match up against them, that would have been a pretty good equalizer in some ways, because that was really bad timing. I know Portland didn't do that on purpose, but Reggie Perry getting called up back to a team at that moment with the G League playoffs just starting completely wrecked the 905's chances in the playoffs. And it was too bad. It really was too bad, because he was a huge player for us all year, our best big, and was kind of really important to our defense in the G League level. And when he was gone, that was what I heard about that game, that the 905 didn't play any defense in that game, and it just became a score fest. Greg knows, he was at the game. There was no defense playing. It was just like who could outscore each other, and the Bluecoats had the firepower in that situation. Now, they didn't get it done against Grand Rapids in the finals. The Vipers were the eventual G League champions. But yeah, good job to Paul Reed. He won it last year. That's right. He's in his second year, because it didn't line up in my head, because I didn't hear this week that he was, and I forgot he was a player last year. So he did win it last year. Okay. Thanks for clarifying that. Mark Miller saying at Omazi, Embiid said he's going to make all the free throws if you keep fouling him. And Nurse said, well, we're probably going to have to. Yeah, I mean, that's just how it is. We're going to probably have to. And even if we're not trying to foul him, I'm sure the refs will make it sure that we're fouling him. Anyway, like they'll call it. They'll whistle something. We know it. Okay. All right. Here we go. Clink, do you want more of an impression? All right. Here we go. All right. Let's see. I'm going to see. This is like a hairnet. Okay.
Hey, Jimmy. I see you got a new shirt on. You ready for your floppy joes? Okay. You stay out of trouble. See you tomorrow.
All right, there you go, Greg. There you go. There's your impression. Another note about the impression activate mode. When you put impression in hashtag, I will do an impression of whatever you put. It can be something. And one of the things I want to also do, this is for Tom Duke and to a degree, because I know he loves my stylish singing. if I know the song and you put it out there, I will do a rendition on cue of a karaoke song. Like this morning, I was singing Mr. Broken Wings, and I was like, man, I can actually sing this song. It's badass. And I was like, man, I should tell the people on the stream that if you want me to sing on the stream, I'll do that too. Because there is a little bit, as much as there's basketball knowledge and interaction and us just having fun and talking, there is an entertainment value to this that I enjoy in doing my impressions, like this dumb thing I just did for Greg with the lunchroom lady. And, I love singing too. And I don't get that outlet right now because I don't go to karaoke night anymore. So if you want to hear me sing a song, I'll try and do my best. I may not know the lyrics and I may hum along at some parts, but I'm really good with tunes and singing songs. Seriously. So Tom loves my falsetto, as he put it. Yeah, we'll hit some high notes. It's crazy. Paul B saying Battle of Cameroon round 3 tonight. I'm picking spicy at home. You got to pick spicy at home. Pascal is doing it for all of us. He's doing it because, and listen, this is a pride. This put up or shut up time. Pascal, you really want to be all NBA. You really want to show that you're a dominant player in this league. You need to show it in this series for at least one of these games. You need to be the best player on the court tonight and assert your dominance as being one of the most unstoppable players in the NBA. And that needs to be shown that it translates to the playoff intensity, that level of play, and that postseason kind of play also. You can do this in the regular season. You've been doing it. You were killing it in the last month of the season. Where is it now? We got to see it now more than ever tonight. And that's what we want. Oh, yeah, Battle of Cameroon. I love that. Raymond Jacobs saying Harris has been guarding Pascal well. Pascal settling for too many jump shots, needs to be aggressive in the takeover. Yeah, I agree with that. That I feel like Harris has done an exceptional job. Doc Rivers and Danny Green and different people have been lauding him for such a good job that Tobias Harris has become the kind of X factor in this series that we were hoping OG Anunoby would have become like this. And OG has time still, and he has been an X factor in some ways. But Tobias Harris's X factor for the Philadelphia 76ers has been off the chain. In fact, he's given them way more than I had hoped in this series, way, way more. I was hoping that he would be around 10 points a game, not doing a whole lot, just being quiet. But he's really asserted himself and been super productive and a big part in the reason why things are going so well for Philadelphia in this series. And the stuff he's doing on the defensive end on Pascal needs to be noted because that's good work that he's doing. That's such a hard person to guard. And Harris is having some success right now, slowing him down. Blue City saying, I still have respect for head coach Nick, but he needs to stop complaining because it is looking bad on his part. If it'd be the same way if Doc Rivers was complaining, it will also look bad on his part. Well, I'm going to say this, Blue City. Doc Rivers is complaining just as much as Nick Nurse is. It's just that we're getting this out there because Joel's shined a light on it because of what he did. And he's saying this. And there's also been a lot of media about Nick Nurse saying in his press conference that if we don't get these kind of calls, well, we don't have a chance in this series. And that's just him politicking to help hopefully get us better whistle. And that's every coach does this. Nick Nurse is just doing his job. He's supposed to complain to the refs. That's absolutely important. In fact, if he wasn't complaining to the refs, I tell them to fire him. That I want him to complain to the refs. I want him to be on them like this. Because if he wasn't doing that, it would mean he didn't care. It'd be like a player. He doesn't give a shit about us winning. He's not trying. He's not doing everything absolutely possible within his power to do this. And the thing is, all the coaches, most of the coaches in the league do this. This is not unusual or way more than anybody else. I saw Doc arguing so much in this series already that he's just doing it just as much. And that it's not that Nick is doing it more than anybody else. It's just that maybe in some ways his expressions are more interesting, like as far as when he's arguing, like his eyes and his mouth. And that whole thing with Embiid really did put more of a spotlight on it for Sixers Nation, because that's like kind of a flag that you guys are carrying right now. Oh, they bitch too much. Nick Nurse is bitching too much and stuff like that. But this is what I'll say. I'm so glad he's doing it. He's going to continue to do it, and he has to do it. That's his job as a coach. And it's just how it is. And I don't get on to Doc Rivers for it either. It's one thing for players to complain too much and do too much on the court and too much, but the coach needs to. Absolutely needs to, because they're the first front line for getting favor with calls. And if they don't work with them and do this, then they just roll over. Then it's just the way it is, and they have to accept it. And we're going to get shitty calls. That sometimes they can actually politic and change the minds of the ref and get them to change and help them in certain ways by doing that. That's the whole reason why they do it. And like I said, he's not doing it any more than Doc is. Doc and him are both doing it the same. It's just that in some ways, Nick Nurse has had more to complain about, obviously, because of the discrepancies in how Joel Embiid is getting treated compared to everybody else. And that's really the heart of it all. If he wasn't doing it, I'd tell them to fire him. So he needs to be doing this. Oh, yeah. Paul B is saying Siakam doesn't get any foul calls. Nick Nurse has to be on those refs. It just has to be done. And it is really a big part of that job as a coach, is that you need to be able to politic and work with the referees to try and get your team some favor. And it's so important. It's actually one of the most important things the coach does, other than the coaches, X's, O's, and rotations and stuff like that. Politicking and getting the refs to work with you. Like sometimes right now, the challenge call sometimes is just used to try and challenge the refs to make better calls. And sometimes they get wasted on bullshit. Like the challenge that the Sixers had in the last game was basically a call to make the call right. It was like who was deflected out on or something like that, I think. And that was like a remedy for like, oh, you made a bad call. And like, oh, we caught it on it and you got to make it that way. Well, that's sometimes the challenge has to be used that way to show the refs where they have made an error. And that was one that was with the Sixers. But then like Doc's probably said, well, why did I have to use my challenge on this? You should just get the call right in the first place. Like that was all said in that situation right there with Doc Rivers and the challenge he made in the last game. So it's that kind of thing. It's like they're trying to get the refs to see it from their side of things as much as they can. And that's just part of the job. It's just part of the job. All right, let's see. Mozzie's saying, I totally agree. Embiid may have poked a polar bear. Not cool. I hope so. I really hope so. Like, listen, it won't be necessarily Nick Nurse that gets the gumption up for it. It'll be people like Fred VanVleet and Pascal, OG, different people on the team that are kind of like, he just disrespected our coach. And we want to play harder for our coach because of this. And stuff like that. Click to him saying the Raptors need to get someone who's good in the half court in the off season. Pascal isolating the playoffs won't get us far. It's tough. Listen, I'm sick of the isolation play in general. We talked about this a couple times in the last couple days, where stop playing by yourself and trying to break people down one-on-one. Play off each other. This is always the place where they have the most success and the offense comes easiest when they're actually playing off each other. Give and go, pick and roll, all the screens that Kem can set for them at the top of the key. And where the fuck did the flex offense go? They were using a flex offense for a good chunk of the middle of the season with these cuts and these screens at the top, and they were manufacturing really good open shots. So I wish Nick would use Trevor Gleason's system for offense a little bit more, because that was really cultivating great open shots, easier shots for our guys by doing the crisscross and a lot of the screens that we're doing with the flex offense this year. It's gone totally out the window in the last month of the season and has not shown itself in the playoffs at all. And that's something really weird to me. I don't know. It's just that they decided it's just not working, or they feel like they have a better chance to win just going the way they're going now. But the flex offense, to me, I thought had a lot of promise, and that they need to maybe go and revisit it, maybe, possibly. We'll see. If we see that little crisscross with the screen at the top and to set up the motion for it to go across like that, that might be a good sign, because that may be cutting down on the isolation stuff that we're talking about right here, Click, and how like that's too much work for Pascal in the playoffs, because the physicality added on top of the doubling down and him trying to fight through and stuff like that, it's going to make it so much harder for him to finish. And then all of a sudden we're having memories of the Celtics in the bubble and that kind of shit that's happening there was happening there and stuff like that. Let's see. Kenny's here. Good to see Kenny. Just sad Scotty not playing for the first Jurassic Park crowd in 2 years. Don't count him out, Kenny. We got the news just a little while ago that he's at practice this morning. He's not wearing a boot and that he could play tonight, Kenny. So yeah, don't count those chickens yet. He might be getting to make his debut in the first game back with us tonight. So we'll see. All right, let's see. Blue City Empire Sports want me to do an impression. All right, Sixer fan wants an impression of Ben Simmons. I don't know how he talks, first of all, so I'm just going to do a generic Australian accent because I know he's Australian. He's like, what do you mean? They're out there. I can't go out there. They're gonna say horrible things to me. No, there's no way you can get me to go. No, I need to go home right now. Please take me home right now. There's no way I'm going out there. Is that good enough? I don't know. Is that good? I don't know. I don't know what he sounds like. So I'm just doing a general like Game of Thrones voice, I guess, for one of that old show Game of Thrones. All right, there you go. I did an impression for Sixer fan today, and it's one that we can all enjoy. Click to him saying Pascal is settling for step back mid ranges because the paint is stacked up with Embiid because we don't have a stretch five. That is tough. Like, honestly, that is part of it is that we should be settling for the outside because they do have a shot blocking threat down low. And whenever Fred goes to the basket, it is a wild ride because sometimes you'll see a circus shot where he just flips it up over his head and then it spins and goes in. And that's the shit I love. But more often than not, it's not going in or he's getting blocked. And that's the thing about going into the paint with Joel Embiid out there is like, once again, fundamentally, he is a center. He's the biggest guy out on the court, and that is hard to shoot around near the basket. But Pascal's been so money with his shot. I don't mind him settling for his jump shot. In fact, I want him to shoot it with more confidence. I want him to shoot it like Precious would shoot it, was not even thinking about it and just, I'm bombing, because I feel like he has such good mechanics. And if he's got enough room, he'll hit it. Like he didn't make his 3-pointers in the last game, but this is a real good sign for us to possibly, hopefully win tonight. Is if Pascal's bombing threes and he hits threes tonight, that'll be really huge for us. So I don't necessarily agree with him settling for a shot is a bad thing. I think it is a good thing. It's just he needs to hit it. Is what we're saying. Raymond Jacob wants an impression. Embiid congratulating Giannis on winning 2022 MVP. Laugh out loud. Don't hate me, Sixers fans. Well, first of all, Giannis is not going to win it. It's going to be Jokic. The way that the votes are going down. So I'll do it for him and congratulating Jokic. Listen, I honestly don't really want to do this impression, Raymond Jacob, because he's kind of involved in the series right now. And this is maybe a poke the bear kind of thing and a karma kind of thing that I don't want to do. So you know what I'm going to do instead? I'm going to just say that it's like, all right, just picture this scenario. It's the MVP, it's the NBA awards at the end of the season. They're all in suits. They're sitting in the crowd, and they're waiting to find out who wins. And Nikola Jokic gets announced as MVP for the year, and he goes up to the stage to get his. The other thing is, I don't want to do an impression of Joel Embiid because, in some ways, because he has an accent and because of where he is from, it's like it's not in good taste. First of all, but all right, Jokic gets on stage and he is getting the award, and he's like, "Thank you, thank you, thank you," and then all of a sudden, Joel Embiid rushes the stage and he slaps him like Will Smith. And then everybody's like booing him. Boo, boo, you poor loser. How about that instead? That's the scenario I see instead. That like we see Frankenstein Will Smith do a Will Smith to Nikola Jokic on the court, on the stage at the NBA awards after the season's over when he gets the MVP. Yeah, and you know what? Listen, the love between the Raptor and the Sixers fans here is good and a good platform for where it is right now. These Sixer fans, they're good guys. They're cool dudes from what I've seen so far. Paul B saying, I feel like usually start games by letting Van Vliet and OG try to get their games going, and then Siakam takes over third and fourth. But he should probably play point all game. Yeah, it's really good when we put the ball through him and Scotty. I really like this. The more we talk about Fred playing off the ball and being catch and shoot, that is really good. And if Scotty is going to play tonight, that'll allow us the luxury of having more of that. So, yeah, it does seem like we try to go to OG very early. Like sometimes it's a bully ball move where we use a mismatch that OG's got and feed him in the post and just see if he can get an easy, quick shot right down low. It's a very like a classic like NBA starting thing. Like the Bulls did it with Bill Cartwright for years and years. Bill Cartwright got fed the ball before Michael Jordan did anything. And they tried to get Bill to do a quick post move to open up the post game down low so that the shooting was easier for people outside. And that's why I like them going to OG down there. Now, Fred, what he did in the last game was he just started come out bombing and he was hot right away. And I'm okay with that too. If Fred wants to establish he's starting the game and he's hitting his shot right away, that is okay too. Yeah, Blue City saying he respects my opinion. Right on. I appreciate that, Blue City. And it's a really weird turn of events. If you had told me at the beginning of the year that I do this channel, this very pro Raptors, and at this point we'd be in a very cutthroat series with the Sixers, this very animosity kind of thing, and that we're having this kind of like talk and peacefulness between us, I would be like, you're crazy that this happened. Like, I didn't think it would be possible, and I'm so happy to be pleasantly surprised. I'm not gonna lie. Mary Jane's here. I always love Mary Jane, and especially on this day, I love Mary Jane. Oh yeah, happy holiday, Mary Jane. I would be kneeing Embiid in the nuts as he keels over. I would knee him in the chops. This is Mary Jane. Mary Jane probably has kneed some people in the nuts in her life, and because they're just inappropriate. And this is what she's saying, that she would knee him in the nuts. So Joel Embiid, you better not run into Mary Jane downtown in Toronto, because she has a knee for your nuts, is what she's saying right now. Brian's saying Nick Nurse has been pretty tame, actually, considering how lopsided it's been. I've seen Nick Nurse go way crazier on the refs this year. There's been times where he's gone absolutely ballistic, y'all, and he sometimes very much on purpose. There was one game in particular where he got himself tossed real early in the game because he just went off on them. And listen, he is the kind of guy that lays into refs. There was that one game where he was all over Evan Scott for reffing a really horrible game, and he was like letting him have it. And Evan Scott's a young ref. He's only been reffing under 5 years, and he can be kind of pushed around by a coach like Nick Nurse, who's won a championship, who's got a lot of respect around the league and stuff like that. And that's part of it. What it is that some of it is a battle of egos, a battle of wills, a battle of respect, a battle of who's been in the league the longest, of who's accomplished what, and stuff like that. And he may try and take it upon himself with a younger ref, a ref who's not as seasoned, who hasn't been around as much, and he may be able to influence them a bit with really smart ways that they talk to him. Like this is the thing. That's half of what this job is politicking with the refs and trying to get favor for your team. I really, really do mean this. And that's just how it is. And like he's saying, Raymond's saying, who was it? Brian's saying it. Yeah. We've seen Nick Nurse way crazier than even in this series. And in fact, I'm kind of mad at Nick for not being more crazy. Like, I want to see him get a technical because of some of these calls, because they've been so bad and stuff like that. Because that means he's really trying and he's saying everything he can. Greg's saying at Blue City Empire, trust me, it isn't just Nurse and the players pointing the issue out. I guarantee Masai and Bobby have sent tape to the league office. Also, yeah, you've been talking about this week, Greg, on your channel about how we send reports and try and politic through the front office avenue in that kind of way. That was very interesting when you were talking about that. I'd be interested to hear more about your insight about how we do that. I know that Masai is fighting in that kind of fight in that channel as the team president in different ways and stuff like that. Let's see. All right, it jumped ahead a little bit. A Teflon's here. He's saying first playoff game at home since 2019 championship run. Raptors will get the W tonight. I hope so. I hope that we have it all saved up and bottled up for these couple years. The love and adoration that our fans want to give on site in our own building, that we wanted to give to them in the summer of 2020 when we played the Boston Celtics in the bubble series. And, just last year, completely missing everything. And it's not like we wanted to reward Tampa with playoff games or be there any longer than we had to. So missing the playoffs last year was actually really good calculation, other than just landing number 4 pick, Scotty Barnes, not having to play any more games in Tampa and getting the fuck out of there as quickly as possible was part of the objective at the end of the year. And now here we go. We got it all set up for tonight. 420, baby, in the 416. The Sixers at the Raptors, game 3, round 1. Let's go, baby. Let's see how it all plays out tonight. And hopefully it's a different outcome than the first 2 games. And we kind of make this a series and make this more fun. Like, Sixers fan, come on. You guys want to give us at least one, get us one, so that we can make this somewhat some fun series and just give us a little bit of shine. Come on. Blue Cities, what's your opinions about Sixers GM Daryl Morey? Yeah, he's the guy. Wasn't he in Houston before? And he was with Harden there also, and that they didn't totally get along at that point. And he's also the guy who made comments about China and caused a lot of issues as far as for the NBA with that market and stuff like that. I don't think he's a very smart guy. in different ways just because of those kind of things. And did you get him from Houston? I don't keep up with this completely. Now, I remember you guys having all kinds of different people in your front office over the years, so it gets all muddled with me. I remember Croce, Pat Croce, and the way that he loved that team and the way that he treated the Sixers organization. He was a badass. Like, he was the kind of like owner and kind of person that was like Mark Cuban, that was like really hands-on and involved and around the players and stuff like that. He was a great person for the Sixers. I felt like at that time, there may be some things about him I don't know that Sixers fan hates him for or something like that. But to me, he was a guy who really cared, Pat Croce. And then there's been other people that have just been inept, like absolutely inept as GMs. And then also a meddling owner is not easy to deal with at all. So yeah, I don't know. I think that he's doing a pretty good job just from the current state of the Sixers right now. I mean, Maxi's a home run, obviously. It looks like Reed's a home run. And then Embiid's continued development, stuff like that. It may be different things like your coach and changing that position possibly, although Doc's doing pretty good, and just continuing to go in that right direction, and just hoping that Harden works out as much as possible and that he doesn't become a headache eventually. Brian's saying the Raptors don't even complain anymore. They just have this look of disbelief, like, oh, this again. Well, the players on the court know that it doesn't get you anywhere. It just doesn't help or any kind of way like that. Chris Boucher is the smartest at finessing the referees right now. Like, the things he's doing as far as getting the charge calls and the things like that, that's purely from him talking to the refs, asking them, well, what do I need to do to get the right call for us? And they tell him exactly, and he listens, and then he does it. And that's part of the reason why he got those charges late in the game in game 2, is because he really respects and listens to the refs and works with them. In fact, on his Hustle Play podcast in the second episode with Delano Banton, I think was the episode, he's talking about how he didn't want to talk about the refs in any kind of way because he feels like right now the refs are actually giving him calls and giving him some favor at this point. And that's fantastic. That's a smart way to deal with it. Because in some ways you can complain and you can point stuff out. You can, maybe like you're saying, he hit me on the arm, or you say something like that. That should have been an and one. Come on. But you don't use any profanity and you don't show them up. And you let it go. Like, you do a little bit, you let them know the information, but you don't keep harping on it. Because at that point, that's when they'll call attack on you, or they will kind of like be mad at you and show you up even further. So it's kind of like, let them know, alert them to what's happened, and politic in the littlest way, but don't take away from getting back on your defensive assignment. Don't take away by harping on them too much that you won't let it go and then it's becoming an issue. That's really 101 on how to finesse the refs and deal with them. And what basketball 101 on that whole subject right there. Yeah, okay. Mazi's saying that's pretty damn good. Oh, yeah, you guys like that? You like my Ben Simmons impersonation? Blue City saying that's so Ben Simmons. I don't even know what he sounds like. I said I do an Australian accent and just a weak dude who's scared. That's basically what I did. I was like, yeah, okay. Jebstown Clink saying Raptors top brass knew full well what we would be facing with his whistle. It's been there all year for JoJo and superstars. He's worked hard to change the whistle. It will work. Watch Danny Green's interview. I don't know which one you're talking about, if it's post game or his inside the green room show. Yeah, that's part of this. He's got to continue to politic, and hopefully the favor will start coming towards the Raptors' way at some point. We'll see. Blue City saying, will you be surprised if Embiid wins MVP? I might be at this point, because I'm telling you, I have a realistic portal and view to what is happening with the votes, because there's this guy who made this spreadsheet who has all the postseason awards, and he's keeping track of what everybody's saying publicly about how they voted. And he's adding it all up and putting it up there. And as I said, right now, as it's confirmed, they have 54% of the vote confirmed and figured out. Nikola Jokic has 37 first place votes. Joel Embiid has 11 first place votes. Now, when you add them all up and you go down, because they have first, second, and third place votes and stuff like that, it changes. And Joel Embiid has 15 second place votes and 10 second place votes, but then he has 18 third place votes, while Jokic only has 1 third place votes. So what's happening is there's a lot of voters that are voting for Jokic, and then they're voting for Antetokounmpo, and then they're putting Embiid third. And that's what's going to hurt him in this voting race, is that there's a lot of voters picking him as the third MVP vote in their voting ballot. And that, and in the same respect, on the Rookie of the Year voting, this is actually going to really help Scotty, that right now, even though he only has a 4-point lead on Evan Mobley on the same spreadsheet, a lot of the second place votes have not been counted into the total. And that there's a lot of votes for Evan Mobley that are sitting here that have no second place vote points added to Scotty's vote count. And in some ways, if you add up the votes that have been counted, there's more votes for Mobley that are already in, and he's still behind him. And Scotty's going to collect more votes from second place votes. And that may be what puts him over the top in the Rookie of the Year race. So, you know what? If you're curious about this spreadsheet, Blue City, I will post it in the comments after the stream, and you guys can go look at it. I have it in another stream that I did last Friday, but I'll repost it again so you guys can all look at it again and see it. And they have every race. They have the all NBA stuff, the defensive player of the year, even though Marcus Smart already won, they have it all marked on there. Coach of the year, most improved player, rookie of the year. All those are on there. Yeah, and I will be really surprised because that'll mean that what this spreadsheet is saying is not actually happening with the rest of the percentage of the vote that's out there. But they're saying this is like 54% of the votes been counted, and Jokic has a very big lead, like on this spreadsheet. All right, Raymond Jacobs saying, haha. Okay, let's not poke the bear still. Yeah, I don't want to do an impression of Joel Embiid like that. Like if they beat us and we're done for the summer, maybe I'll do it then, but not while we're currently in competition with them and stuff like that. There's no reason for me to give extra fodder that way. I'll make fun of Ben Simmons because Sixer fan will love that. I'll make fun of him, but I'm not making fun of Joel Embiid other than calling him Frankenstein Will Smith. That's all I'll do for right now for him. He's Frankenstein Will Smith. All right, let's see. Omazy's saying, Sixer fan here since 1976. Love your commentary. You were well skewed in the NBA. Appreciate that. I wasn't sure who you were exactly, if you were on either side, but if you're a Sixer fan, that's cool. And like I said, if we're respectful and we can have a respect in general, just a general respect, and there's not just like degenerating to you're ugly. No, you're ugly. You suck. No, you suck. Then I welcome an intelligent discourse on this channel. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate that you're recognizing that I have watched the NBA since the 80s and that I really love the sport. I coached it. I've ran teams and myself in city leagues and stuff like that where I've had to manage the team, have different players, come up with schemes, X's and O's. It's just a student of the game in general. And somebody who really appreciates the history of the NBA and has studied it. Like I can go way back. I can start talking about George Mikan. I can start talking about Bill Russell, Paul Arizin. I can talk about some of your old school Philadelphia 76er greats like Hal Greer and Billy Cunningham, stuff like that. Oh, yeah, I can go real deep with you if you want me to. And yeah, we got to remember Wilt Chamberlain played for Philadelphia also. All right, let's see. Blue City saying, damn, Mary Jane, I hope Spider-Man does not hear you say that. It's all good. We have a Spider-Man here in Toronto, guy who actually dresses up like Spider-Man and rides around on a longboard. And he does weird shit like at intersections in Toronto where he puts all this string up in the corners, like on the street light and on the utility box. And the cops always have to fucking come and tell him to get the fuck down, Spider-Man. You're fucking causing a nuisance. Like you're fucking up the streetcar with your goddamn stupid ass string web all over here. And he's also a real creep. Like honestly, the Spider-Man here in Toronto, the guy who dresses up like Spider-Man and runs around town acting like he's Spider-Man, he's fun for kids and kids love seeing him. They're like, oh, Spider-Man. He's like, be good citizens, kids. He's saying shit like that. But then the other thing he doesn't tell anyone is every time he sees a redheaded girl on the street, he bothers her and starts calling her Mary Jane. He's like, Mary Jane, I'm here to save you. Like I knew this girl who lived in the neighborhood that I lived in Kensington Market, and he harassed her every fucking day on the street. And she hated him because she had red hair and she thought she looked like Mary Jane. So fuck you, Toronto Spider-Man. Quit harassing the redheads of Toronto just because you want to play a cause scene or something like that. They don't like that. And plus you have been a little creepy when you got up close to them and started talking to them from what I've heard also. So yeah, Toronto Spider-Man is not a good dude. Trust me right now. Like you hear about Toronto Spider-Man, fuck that guy. He's a problem. He causes problems around the city. Seymour Pape saying, let's go Raps. Jubstown Clink is saying, haha, Mary Jane already showed up at my house before I got cooking. I was cooking if you can pick up what I'm putting down. You got need in the nuts, Greg? Greg got a little Jubstown clinking in the clink. Ow! Ooh! I don't know. I'm not picking up what you're putting down, I don't think. Seymour Pape saying 33 fouls in the first 5 quarters of the series. Like I said, refs up 2-0. See, Seymour's putting him ahead stats like I can't argue with. But this is something that historically has happened to the Raptors. We've always gotten the short end of the stick with the free throw discrepancy. And it's just way more egregiously abundant this time. Like the gap is way wider than usual. Mary Jane's saying Embiid's free throws are not going to be as good in Toronto. I hope so. I hope you're right. I hope that he doesn't get the same kind of calls, the same kind of golden boy treatment by the NBA tonight. And then maybe they give the golden boy treatment to Pascal Siakam, that's somebody who's actually been a really good player also this year and isn't possibly not getting completely his due in some ways. Omazi saying, I do not like Morey at all or Elton Brand. Elton Brand, yeah, that's right. He was involved in your front office. Great pro, maybe not the best front office kind of guy either. Yeah, okay, so this Sixer fan's not impressed with him. Morey's kind of seems like an idiot that puts his foot in his mouth. And maybe he's a little too outspoken, maybe a little too egotistical and stuff like that. But the one thing I would watch out for, Sixers fan, with your setup, with how it is, with Morey being your GM and Harden being there, they have history. And that is not totally good history in some ways. I don't know if they've completely mended fences and stuff like that, but there was a lot of bad blood between the two of them in Houston with James Harden near the end there. And that's the thing. With both of them there in your ecosystem, that's very fascinating to me. And I forgot that Morey is your GM right now. That's very interesting stuff. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, we got him in Houston. Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting, the GM stuff that we're talking about. Mary Jane saying there will be 20,000 people keeping refs in check tonight. That's right. We may have a 19,000 capacity, but there will be another 1,000 people outside the building in Jurassic Park. And we just need to come correct and be as loud as fuck and just really bring that good energy, Raptor fans, to the building. As I said, if you haven't watched the beginning of my stream, I go do a whole spiel about how we need to treat tonight as a fan nation in the building as the crowd. So go back and watch that if you missed it. Seymour saying refs are in every series except for the Celtics, Nets, Hawks, Heat. Refs letting them play, but not our series. The refs are all in for the Sixers and Warriors. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Like somebody was saying yesterday, I think it was Leslie or somebody was saying that the way that they're letting Dallas and Utah play and like the swallowing the whistle is so much fun to watch. And then in other series, they're probably doing that to a degree. And that in some ways it's not totally happening for us yet. And that's too bad. Let's see. Blue City saying my grandma is best friends with DJJ. DJJ. Who's DJJ? I'm trying to figure that out. Write that in real quick, Blue City. Who you mean with DJJ? I'm trying to figure out who that is. Dr. J? Did you mean to put DRJ? Is your grandma's best friends with Dr. J? That is impressive as fuck. Like, honestly, that's a class act right there. Dr. J is a badass. I have so much respect for Dr. J. This is another area that I can get on common ground with Sixer fan. That like Dr. J, in some ways, I respect him way more than a lot of the superstars today. I think that he doesn't get the same kind of due that other old greats like Jordan and Bird and Magic get, that he should get. Because honestly, without Dr. J, there's none of those other guys. And there's so many iconic things that Dr. J did in his game in the ABA, that his fro just flying in the wind and that one picture and just some of the stuff he did. I have so much respect for Dr. J. And honestly, I will toot his horn and say this is a man that needs to be talked about in the greatest of all time discussion way more than it is. That is a huge, egregious oversight. And then in some ways, I would argue that Dr. J is more greatest all time than LeBron James. That, yeah, if you're going to get right down to it, Dr. J is one of the greatest of all time. And on my list, he may be higher than LeBron James. I don't give a shit about LeBron James' individual accolades and shit like that. I give a shit about that first part of what that word is and greatest of all time. And that's great. You have to be great. And Dr. J is the epitome of greatness. And that's what I'm talking about right there. All right. So we found more common ground with Sixer fan, my love of Dr. J. And that's fantastic. That's badass friend for your grandma to have. And I'll bet she has some really cool stories about Dr. J and stuff like that. Very, very cool. Yeah. All right, let's see. That's some crazy shit right there, Spider Stalker. Yeah, you like that? Oh, Maisie's learning about Toronto. He's not even coming to Toronto or anything. You just learned about one of our local nut jobs. Toronto Spider-Man. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, and I'm glad you corrected that. And I figured it out after saying, I'm like, DJJ, that sounds like, well, that's one letter off from Dr. J. That may be who he meant. Seymour Page saying, would a box and one work against Philly? Stick one on Maxey all game, other four play box? I don't know. This is not like the Warriors in 2019 in the finals. This is a very different situation. But, that was what we were doing to try and deal with Steph. And maybe that is kind of a similar thing that we do. I think that we get burned too badly for the rest of it by doing that with this matchup with the Sixers. But it worked with the Warriors just because of their makeup. And I don't think it would work in this situation. She's best friends with Dr. J. That's badass. Dr. J was the GM of the Orlando Magic for a little while in their early years. And I thought he was a really good person in the Magic at the time, but he didn't do a good job. Maisie saying, you must be a Sixers fan in your afterlife. No, I'll always be a Raptor fan. Deep down in my heart, always. I was born here in Toronto. I grew up in Tallahassee, Florida. I am American. I do have a lot of American in me. That's why I may sound not Canadian totally, and I may be a little more feisty than the average Canadian because I like to say I'm an American Canadian. Somebody who was raised in Tallahassee, Florida, lived there right up and all the way through university, went to Florida State. I'm a Seminole, just like Scotty, and is somebody who's very well learned with American sports, with the NBA specifically, and I got to do a lot of cool stuff. Like I saw Magic games when I was a little kid, Scott Skiles, Anthony Hardaway, Nick Anderson, Dennis Scott. And I also went and saw the Hawks play against the Celtics in the Omni in the 80s. I've seen Dominique Wilkins playing alongside y'all's coach. Seeing him as a player back in the day, Doc Rivers at shooting guard, Spud Webb, Moses Malone, Kevin Willis. I went and saw them play in their own building back in the day in the Omni. And I got to meet Rick Barry at that game. It was so awesome. I got his autograph and stuff like that. So, yeah, a real student of the game. But I will not be a Sixers fan in my afterlife. I've never actually really been a Sixers fan at any time in my life. There's players that I've respected from the Sixers organization. I'm a huge Barkley fan. Like Charles Barkley is one of my favorite all-time players. I respected Iverson. I liked Iverson, but I hated him when he played. I hated him obviously in 2001. And Dr. J is somebody I really, truly respect a lot also. So there's a lot of Sixers icons that I really respect and honor. But once again, like with the current crop of NBA players, the way they are and the way LeBron has shaped his persona and the way he is, there's too many knuckleheads that are too talented and get too many kudos. And I don't think they deserve it. And Ben Simmons is an epitome of that. And that's what I'm saying. So it's like the older stuff I can get behind and stuff like that. But I'm not going to be a Sixer fan in my afterlife. No. There's no way. I will be buried in Raptor red and purple for sure. Oh, yeah. Teflon saying Gary Trent Jr. is feeling better. We need 20 plus from him. He's at shoot around this morning. He's feeling good. He's a game time decision. They're going to try him out. It sounds like if he plays, he's going to start. And if he's not feeling right, it'll be similar to what happened in the last game. They'll probably pull him out. If he's not really actually being able to play, they'll take him out right away. But we'll see. They're going to give him a shot. We'll see. Seymour saying, if Trent is sick, just sit out, please. I think he's doing more harm than good being out there sick. Yeah, I agree with that. And that's what Nick said after the game. He said, well, I probably shouldn't even tried him in the last game because he did hurt us in some ways just by being so weak and not being able to be effective in any kind of way. And they may have a really quick leash on this tonight. It may be like, yeah, it's not working. You got to get out, and we're not playing you for the rest of the night, Gary. But we're really hoping that maybe he can bounce back and start showing something else. Blue City saying, my grandma used to work for the Sixers during the Dr. J era. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I used to work for the Raptors during the Vince Carter era. I worked at the building for 5 years when they first opened the Air Canada Center. I was there from 1999 to 2004. So pretty much that whole heyday. When we were playing y'all in 2001, I was there at the building. Okay. Maisie's putting down some more Sixers greats that I forgot about. Bobby Jones is another one. Dr. J, Chocolate Thunder, Daryl Dawkins. Love the man from Lovetron. Man, that man had so many nicknames, so many badass nicknames. So those are your three favorites right there. You like Dr. J, Bobby Jones, and Daryl Dawkins. I always think of Daryl Dawkins with the Nets, and I always forget his Sixers time also. Yeah. Daryl Dawkins would be putting up 40 points a night if he had these refs in his era. Wow. Well, he was something else. I mean, to me, he was always more of a dunk specialist kind of guy, but I forget that he was actually a pretty good player in different ways also. and stuff like that. All right. Let me just do. All right. The next thing we got to do is obviously we got to do the real mascot matchup. This is for Tom Duke and other regulars on the scene. Is basically where I do a little story about the Raptor mascot going through his life, and he's in a little frenemy kind of friendship with Ben Franklin cosplayer, who's our representative for the Sixers Nation. And in the last episode, they're having a dance-a-thon dance competition, and Ben Franklin found some skank from down between the two rivers in Philadelphia, a lady of the night, a lady by the hour, and the Raptors got his nice little honey, pretty respectable lady, and they're having a dance-a-thon, and they're dancing, and whoever stops dancing first loses, and they're dancing for a long, long time, but then the Raptor, he says something stupid happens, like his dance partner steps on his foot, and then he falls down and he rolls his ankle. And then all of a sudden, Ben Franklin's won the competition by accident. I'm like, oh no, cosplay Ben Franklin, even though he's stuffed full of all these waffles he ate in the waffle eating contest, he still managed to win the dancing contest somehow, some way. The Raptor rolled his ankle in some stupid way. It's like the Raptor's a fun mascot. If you ever see our mascot on TV, he makes a lot of fuck ups and kind of like he'll carry a HD TV down the stairs and fall and drop it all the way down the stairs, stuff like that, funny stuff like that. So it's that kind of clumsiness. So now the Raptor's really feeling shitty because he's lost 2 competitions to Ben Franklin cosplayer at this point. He lost the pie eating contest, and now he's missed the dancing contest. So now the new contest is egg painting contest. Wait, no, let's make it different. Not egg painting. It's butter sculptures. Yeah, he's got to make a butter sculpture. Have you ever seen these butter sculptures that people make? They're really interesting and intricate sometimes. But now they're in a butter sculpture making competition where they got to craft some really amazing, impressive like a structure out of butter and then get judged for it by the judges to say, well, your butter sculpture is better. So now Ben Franklin cosplayer is going up against a Raptor in a butter sculpture competition. We'll have to see how this competition goes. And Ben Franklin knows butter just from going by his waistline. He really knows his butter. So the Raptor may be in trouble, but we'll see. I feel good because I feel like the Raptor may know what he's doing in this situation. We'll have to see. Blue City saying Embiid's high school head coach used to be my high school head coach. Interesting. You got a lot of links to the Sixers. You're a real Philly person, man. You got all kinds of links to different stuff like that. All right, let me see. I went through the real mascot matchup, ref check. We talked about Mark Davis as the head crew chief tonight for the refereeing. That could go either way. He's like Tony Brothers to me. He's done some egregious things towards the Raptors in the past. We actually lost a game in Sacramento once, specifically solely because of Mark Davis's refereeing. And since then, he's tried to show some good faith and being a little more favorable towards the Raptors at times. I have paid attention to this. So I'm hoping that Mark Davis continues that and that we do get some home cooking with the calls. The referees are Mark Davis, Sean Wright, and Justin Van Doon. So those are the guys that are going to be reffing our game tonight. As far as keys for victory, we got to be the most energetic team. We got to be the team that gets the 50-50 balls, wins the rebounding, does really good job closing out on their three-point shooters, not letting them get feeling good behind the three-point line. They had too many guys hitting threes in game 2. We need to build off of our start in the first game and get out there and get going right away and try and get the lead right away. If we could get a lead and hold on to it for the whole entire game and pour some syrup tonight, Tom Duke, get that syrup out, crack it open, and just pour it on real thick on top. That'd be great if we could have a good lead and just like a nice, calm game for the most of the game, similar to what the Sixers have done to us in their 2 games so far this series. Get a good lead and hold on to it for the whole game. And then once again, like we showed such great defensive presence in the last quarter of the last game, only allowing the Sixers to score 17 points in the fourth quarter of game 2. We need more quarters like that. There have been way too many quarters in this series where the Sixers have scored 30 plus, and that has absolutely killed us. Like we let them score the most points ever against a Raptor playoff team in game 1, 130 something points. We've never, ever let a team score that much on us with our defense in the playoffs. And that is a black eye in some ways. We need to look at that and say our defense is way better than this, and we need to shut them down and slow them down better. And that's what I'm saying. Those are the keys to it. We got to jump out early, get that lead early, start real good like we did in the last one, and then that defensive intensity and presence that we normally have. We had this whole season. And we have not had it yet in the postseason. We need it to show up tonight. And our building has to be badass. We have to have a real home court advantage tonight. And that's on our fans. We need to come out there right. And no chicken littling. If they try and take the air out of our building by hitting some shots or getting the lead or something like that, we need to not panic. We need to be steadfast and defiant and not allow the Sixers team to get any kind of joy from quieting our crowd. That if we can be this new kind of crowd that doesn't get quiet no matter what, that we're just defiantly loud all the time and yelling defense all the time, that would be badass. I'd love to see that debut tonight. Oh, yeah. Paul B saying, just got to win one, and that's tonight. Scotty injury revenge game. Gary bounce back. It'd be great to see Scotty get out there tonight, but not at the detriment of possible further worse injury. Scotty, don't play unless you're absolutely sure. And it sounds like you are probably going to play tonight. And that could be really good. Paul B's already chanting defense. I love it. And Seymour saying that Coach just did an interview 40 minutes ago. So I'm going to have to go watch Coach Nurse's interview and see what he's saying today. Maybe he's bitching more about the refs. Yeah. And I'll be very happy that he is, because that's his job. All right, y'all. Thanks for coming and watching my preview with me this morning. Let's go Raptors. We need this one so bad. This is a must win for the Toronto Raptors. Those first two games, that was hold and serve for the Sixers. They were needing to do that, and that was what they needed to do, and they did it. Well, we need to do it from our end on the flip side now. This is our building. This is our country. This is our city. It's 420. Let's go out there and smoke them. That's what I'm saying right now. All right, let's go, Raptors. Let's beat the Sixers tonight. Let's turn the tide. Let's get some good vibes. Let's stop the Shaq sweep. Fuck that shit, Shaq. We are not going to get swept. We're going to show y'all tonight, and may the best team win. No injuries. All good stuff happening tonight for Raptors Nation. That's what we're talking about. Let's make this a little more competitive so there's a few more games and more fun and stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. Thanks all for being here, and appreciate it. Mary Jane saying it's going to be funny watching Embiid bitching at the refs tonight, Lex. And thank you, Brian. You're welcome. Every day, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. That is on my regular start now. So y'all can pencil it in. Sixer fan, you can write it down too. 9:30. I'll be here tomorrow morning. We're going to talk about what happens tonight, good or bad for the Raptors. Hopefully it's very, very good. And we get to have a good, fun time tomorrow. It'll be more fun than what's been going on. And I appreciate all the new wrenches and doing what you did today. This was much better, much smooth, much more civil than yesterday. And I appreciate y'all having a part in helping me with that. Greg saying, enjoy the game all. And thank you, Greg, also for your great content and everything also. And like I said, put me in there instead of Goran. I just can't stand the guy. I want him to go away. It's kind of like Aaron Baines is a memory of a bad memory to bad times. Well, Goran in some ways is that kind of way for me also. I don't want to leave it on that note. Let's go Raptors. I want to see Pascal Siakam putting them in super spin mode. I want to see Fred VanVleet betting on himself and hitting those shots tonight. I want to see OG Anunoby going to the basket aggressive like he has in the last two games. Kem Birch, you get that shot. Take it. Don't hesitate. Precious, you are doing a great job. Continue to go around Joel Embiid and attack the rim. And Chris Boucher, keep doing that Dennis Rodman impression. We see you. We see what you're doing out there. You do that Rodman 2022. We love it. And everybody else, if you get a chance to get on that court and do something, make the best of it, because some of you are playing for your NBA careers and some of you have things to prove as young players and that you belong in this league. And I'm talking to you, Malachi Flynn, Yuta Watanabe, Mahalik, Delano Banton, all you guys. Come out there and make some productive things happen for the Raptors, because we need you guys. If you get your number called, you get out there and you excel to the utmost of your ability. And Gary, I hope you're feeling much better today, that you've gotten some vitamin C in you, emergency, whatever you have to take to get better, and you show up and you're finally bombing and you are finally a factor in this series that I really thought that you were one of our main strengths going in. And that I hope that it finally starts happening tonight, because you're finally 100% you finally again. All right. And Scotty, don't risk it. If it's going to be a little, don't risk it. Err on the side of caution. We have a future with you that is much more bright and important than short gains in the short term right now. All right, let's go, Raptors. Let's go and get that victory, protect our home court, and send Philadelphia off our court tonight. Possibly crying, but hopefully we just win, and then we win the one on Saturday also, even up this series, come back to Philadelphia, have a fantastic Game 5. All right, let's go, Raptors. Believe, and we will achieve. Oh, yeah, baby. Woo! but they're scary out there. I don't want to go out there. They're going to tell me mean things. Ah!